Lu family's eldest daughter, Lu Jihan. Unfortunately, she encountered an accident on the road and was kidnapped. Bitterly, she discovered that the person behind everything was her father, Lu Zhe. Lu Jihan tried to escape and accidentally ran into Nie Yinxiang. He rescued her, helped her train herself, transform, changed her name to Wenrumian, and created a plan for revenge. Feelings blossomed between them, but difficulties always hindered their progress. Can Wenrumian overcome these obstacles, and where will their love lead? Follow this story with Lisa Manhwa. Warm sunlight shone through the window, brightening the entire room, with fashionable clothes neatly hung on the racks. In that luxurious room, a young girl was sitting on the sofa, watching the servant select suitable clothes. The servant held up a dress, smiled and asked the girl, "Miss, this light blue dress complements your skin very well." She smiled in satisfaction. "Choose that one." She was Lu Jihan, the eldest daughter of the Lu family. Her parents were already seated at the dining table, waiting for her. Lu Jihan walked down the stairs, cheerfully waving her hand and saying, "Good morning, Mom and Dad." Her father looked up, smiling and waving back, "Come and sit down for breakfast, or it will get cold." Her mother also smiled gently and said, "Jihan, have you prepared for the charity ball tonight?" Lu Jihan replied with an excited expression, "Yes, Mom, I am really looking forward to it." At this moment, she had changed into a new dress, a blue dress that hugged her figure and accentuated her beauty. Outside, Uncle Wang, Lu Jihan's driver, had prepared the car for her. Her car was driving on the road when two black cars suddenly honked loudly from behind, speeding closer to Lu Jihan's car. The two cars quickly caught up to her car, one driving close alongside, the other overtaking to try to crash into her car. The black car blocked the road ahead, forcing Uncle Wang to brake suddenly. Screech. Lu Jihan lunged forward and worriedly asked, "Uncle Wang, what happened?" He said in a panic, "Miss, wait in the car and do not come out." Then, Uncle Wang opened the car door and stepped out, angrily saying, "How are you guys driving?" Before he could finish his sentence, someone rushed over to attack. He punched Uncle Wang hard in the face, causing him to fall to the ground. Lu Jihan, seeing this in the car, screamed in terror, "Uncle Wang." After that, the other thugs approached and forcibly dragged her out of the car. Lu Jihan screamed in fear, "What do you want to do?" One of them grabbed her hand and smiled sinisterly, "Miss, do not worry, we are just inviting you to a party." They put Lu Jihan into the other car and sped away, leaving Uncle Wang lying on the ground. Her terrified screams echoed in the car, "Let me go, do you know who I am?" Along with the kidnappers' gleeful laughter, "Ha ha ha, of course we know, the eldest daughter of the Lu family, you are our target." At the warehouse. The kidnappers tied her up on the ground, standing around Lu Jihan, looking down and saying, "Miss Lu, your father will receive our message very soon." She was speechless with horror, her face full of tears. One of the kidnappers looked at her face with interest and said, "Indeed, a very beautiful girl." As soon as he finished speaking, he reached out to touch Lu Jihan. At this moment, the kidnapper standing next to him suddenly grabbed his hand, warning him, "Don't touch her, the ransom has not arrived yet." She looked down, teary-eyed. Lu Jihan's whole body was now covered in scratches. Suddenly, she caught sight of a shard of glass right next to her foot. Lu Jihan secretly picked up the shard of glass. At the Lu residence, Lu Zhe, Lu Jihan's father, also received a call from the kidnappers. "Hello, is this the Lu family? Your daughter is in our hands." Madame Lu stood beside him, looking anxiously at her husband. He turned pale and shouted, "What? How much ransom do you want?" The kidnappers immediately hung up after delivering their message. Lu Zhe slammed the phone down, his face furious as he shouted, "Damn it, they dare to touch my daughter." He turned around and ordered the servants, "Immediately prepare the ransom. I want to ensure Jihan's safety." "Yes, master." Madame Lu stood beside him, looking anxious. She wiped away her tears and asked Lu Zhe, "Husband, what should we do? Will anything happen to our daughter?" He held her in his arms and comforted her softly, "It is okay, I will definitely save our daughter." Madame Lu kept crying. 10 hours later, at the warehouse, Lu Jihan muttered in horror, "Dad, why have not you come to save me yet?" Her hands were bleeding because she was tightening the glass shard to cut the rope. A kidnapper brought food to Lu Jihan, kicked the bowl of rice on the ground, put his hands in his pockets, and said arrogantly, "Young lady, eat up." Seeing that she did not react, he grabbed Lu Jihan's head and slammed it into the bowl of rice. The kidnapper laughed gleefully after making her struggle and left, ha ha ha, leaving Lu Jihan covered in injuries and spilled rice. Her eyes were full of determination, thinking to herself, "I must find a way to escape." After a while of struggling, Lu Jihan finally cut the rope. She quietly approached the warehouse door and heard the kidnappers talking. Lu said that as long as we clean this up, he will give us more money. "Why do not you let me have some fun first?" Lu Jihan was stunned by their conversation. That old fox is even willing to sacrifice his own daughter. He announced to the outside world that he had paid a huge ransom, so as long as we disappear, he can smoothly transfer the assets. Her eyes widened in disbelief. Lu Jihan trembled. This kidnapping was her father's plan. However, she quickly regained her composure. Lu Jihan seized the opportunity and jumped out of the window. She ran quickly away from the warehouse. Before long, the kidnappers' voices rang out, "Damn it, that little bitch escaped." In Lu Jihan's heart, there was only one thought: I must survive. She ran to the main road. Lu Jihan saw some people ahead and shouted loudly, help. There were 3 men standing next to a car. One of them said, where did this strange girl come from, daring to block our boss's way? She ran towards the 3 men with all her strength. Behind her were the kidnappers chasing after her relentlessly. Lu Jihan reached out to beg the man for help. She knelt down, holding his leg with both hands and pleading, please save me. The man did not respond immediately. He looked at her coldly and asked, who are you? Lu Jihan looked at him with a pitiful expression, her big round eyes full of tears, and said, please, save me. The man sat down, grabbed her chin, and said, why should I help you? Her face was full of tears but her voice was full of determination. As long as you save me, you can ask me to do anything. He smiled with interest and said, okay, I will help you. After leaving the warehouse, Lu Jihan was taken to his house. His servant brought her before him and said, sir, the person has been brought. At this time, Lu Jihan had been cleaned up, looking neater and cleaner than before. The man sat on the chair, legs crossed, and looked at her with a cold tone. I do not care what your name was before, or what kind of family background you had. After you come to my place, you are Wenrumian. From now on, this is your rebirth place. She sadly lowered her head and whispered, okay. He came over and grabbed Lu Jihan's chin, forcing her to look up at him. He ordered, say it louder. She suppressed her emotions and said with a determined expression, I will try my best, Sir Nya. He smiled with satisfaction. At this time, at the warehouse, Lu Zhe, after learning that Lu Jihan had escaped, angrily beat the kidnapper, useless trash, you can't even watch a girl. The kidnappers retreated in fear and timidly explained, we followed the eldest daughter's footprints deep into the forest, searched for 3 days and could not find any trace. This forest is usually dense with miasma, and the villagers around here rarely enter it. The eldest daughter probably won't come back. He suppressed his anger and said cruelly, it is best if she died there. If there is a body, I can get 100% of the insurance money. Now the insurance company can only compensate half in case of a missing person. Lu Zhe looked at the kidnappers with a gloomy face. They said, we have inquired in the villages within a dozen miles, and have not seen any trace of the eldest daughter. She must have run into the forest. He turned and left, not forgetting to threaten, search carefully again. The money from the insurance company has already entered the account. If there is any trouble at this time, I won't let you get the final payment. In a certain forest, Nye Yinxiang, the man who saved Lu Jihan, was standing on the side watching her practice martial arts. The coach reminded her, remember, every move must be accurate and powerful. Lu Jihan replied while practicing, yes, coach. He suddenly stuck out his leg and tripped her. Lu Jihan cried out in pain, ah. Nye Yinxiang did not help her up. He stood beside her and said, you can't even stand properly, what kind of moves do you want to perform? Lu Jihan slowly stood up and seriously listened to his instructions, pay attention to your posture and the distribution of strength. Combat requires flexibility and agility. A year later, the weak Lu Jihan had now become a strong Wenrumian. She wore a large backpack, carried a hiking stick, and had a determined expression, Wenrumian. From now on, you are no longer a young lady, but a girl who can protect herself. Wenrumian encouraged herself while climbing the mountain, don't trust anyone, you can only succeed by relying on yourself, come on, you can definitely do it. She carefully clung to the cliff, trying to climb up. As dusk fell, Wenrumian also climbed to the top of the mountain. She stood on the top of the mountain, smiling and watching the sun slowly setting. The wind brushed past Wenrumian, causing her hair to flutter. In a luxurious but dimly lit room, a person was sitting on a chair, enjoying a glass of wine. A man holding a file walked in, Sir Nya, these are Ms. Wen's recent achievements, please take a look. Nye Yinxiang reached out to take the documents, flipping through the pages. He smiled in satisfaction and continued to enjoy the glass of wine, while arranging her next schedule. Very good, take her to Biyicheng tomorrow to learn new content. At Biyicheng, Wenrumian thought in astonishment, is this the most famous Biyicheng in City H? She stood in front of Biyicheng, carefully observing this place. After entering, a staff member guided Wenrumian, Ms. Please follow me, your instructor is waiting for you. In the room, a woman wearing a cheongsam was standing by the window. She said, you have arrived. She was Chen Ruoshi, the beauty of Biyicheng. Wenrumian looked at Chen Ruoshi in a daze, and exclaimed in her heart, so beautiful. She turned her head and looked out the window. Look, under the lights of Biyicheng. Under the dim lights, to the lively music, everyone was dancing their hearts out. Chen Ruoshi looked at the couples flirting below and continued, every soul has found a place to return. Either indulgence or depravity. She then turned to look at Wenrumian and smiled softly, with your dressing style, people can't indulge. Chen Ruoshi pressed her to sit in front of the mirror, her beautiful face close to Wenrumian's. I will start teaching you from how to do makeup. In a room in Biyicheng, the table was full of wine glasses. Nye Yinxiang coldly sat on the chair, legs crossed, one hand holding a glass of wine, the other resting on the chair. Next to him were 2 girls who wanted to pour wine for him. Chen Ruoshi pushed the door open and walked in with Wenrumian, who was gorgeously dressed. He looked at her coldly without saying anything. She whispered in Wenrumian's ear, Amian, today, your first task is to seduce Nye Yinxiang. As soon as she heard this, her face turned red, and she shyly said to Chen Ruashi, I do not know how to seduce people. She gently patted Wenromian's shoulder to reassure her, it is okay, I will teach you, remember, seduction is not just about appearance, it is also about inner strength. She closed her eyes and listened to Chen Ruashi's instructions, believe in yourself, every movement of yours must be full of confidence and seduction. Wenromian opened her eyes with determination. Make Nie Yunxiang unable to resist, she slowly approached Nie Yunxiang. He expressionlessly shook his wine glass, watching Wenromian approaching him. Nie Yunxiang closed his eyes and said irritably, get out. She held the wine bottle and wanted to pour it for him, Sir Nya. He angrily threw the wine bottle out of Wenromian's hand, I told you to get lost. Chen Ruashi, seeing this, silently took her away. In the room, Nie Yunxiang was still annoyed, he closed his eyes and said with a frown, Lu Yunfei, tell Chen Ruashi to manage her people well, I do not care how she wants to train her. But do not appear in front of me again. Yes, boss Nya. In Chen Ruashi's room, she was still comforting Wenromian, it is okay, the first try is always difficult, it is my fault, I should not have given you such a difficult task right from the start. Sir Nya is indeed a bit difficult to handle. She smiled and said, I will try again with you. She replied disappointedly, okay. Bi Cheng. A year later, in a private room in Bi Cheng, Chen Ruashi, dressed seductively, sat on the sofa pouring wine for a middle-aged man, Boss Huang, can we start yet? He held a glass of wine in one hand and draped the other over the chair, staring at her and repeatedly saying, okay, okay, okay. Chen Ruashi stood up, looked at the stage, and clapped her hands to signal, start. When Wenromian appeared on the stage, the lights shining on her, making her even more attractive. She began to dance, the dance was both graceful and seductive. When Wenromian leaned over, revealing her hot body, she glanced at Boss Huang and smiled slightly. He immediately reached out, saying with a lewd expression, I want her. Boss Huang turned to Chen Ruashi and said eagerly, I want her. She nodded slightly and handed him a card, thank you, Boss Huang. In the room, when Wenromian sat timidly on the large bed placed in the middle of the room, Boss Huang walked in, saw her and called out, little beauty. When Wenromian looked at him in fear, she raised her hands to shield her body, trembling and saying, don't come here. He approached, reached out to grab Wenromian's chin, and looked at her tearful face, saying, indeed, top quality. She hurriedly turned her face away from Boss Huang's hand and trembled, I am not selling myself, they made a mistake. He did not care about Wenromian's pitiful expression, Boss Huang grabbed her hands and raised them high, saying with a lustful expression, it does not matter whether you sell yourself or not. It is your good fortune that I took a fancy to you, try your best to serve me, and you will have good food and clothes to wear. When Wenromian jerked her hand away, I said I am not selling myself. She looked in horror as he grabbed her leg, Boss Huang stroked her white legs and said, it is not up to you, sure enough, your legs are perfect, really beautiful. When Wenromian suddenly raised her hand and slapped him hard in the face. Boss Huang immediately pounced on her, saying, don't think that you can be rude in front of me just because you have some beauty. He grinned with interest, a bit interesting. At this moment, when Wenromian used her elbow to hit Boss Huang. He immediately fainted on the bed. She ignored him lying there, calmly put on a cloak, and turned to leave. The doorknob suddenly turned, click. Chen Ruashi opened the door and walked in, that stinky man. She looked coldly at Boss Huang, who was unconscious, he has ruined several of my sisters. When Wenromian handed Chen Ruashi a USB flash drive, send the information to his wife. She clenched the USB flash drive in her hand, what about him? She turned and walked towards the front of the bed, smiling and saying, I will deal with it and come out later. Half an hour later, outside, a crowd stood gathered, with expressions of contempt, what the hell is this? In the alley, Boss Huang was tied up, kneeling on the ground, with a sign stuck on his body, I am a pervert, people passing by stopped and gossiped, so embarrassing. That is right, he really knows how to play. At the Liu residence. An old photo of Wenromian was being carefully held in someone's hand. Her mother, Madame Liu, sat on the chair with a haggard expression, staring blankly at the photo and whispering, Wenromian, where are you? After all, I do not believe you just disappeared like that. Lu Zhe passed by and saw Madame Liu's appearance, he said with disgust, what are you doing here, going crazy again, it has been so many years, have not you accepted reality yet? She heard this and burst into tears, shouting at Lu Zhe, our daughter is not dead, I can feel that she is still alive. He turned and left, leaving Madame Liu crying uncontrollably on the chair, crazy woman. The door of the Liu residence opened, and a woman led a child in. Lu Zhe said to the servant, this is the second daughter, named Lu Jiyu, this is her mother. Li Yuyu, Lu Jiyu's mother, stepped forward and took his arm, saying in a coquettish tone, darling, I do not want to live under the same roof with that crazy woman. Lu Zhe put his arm around her waist and led her into the house, I have already arranged it a long time ago, I have had someone take her away, this is your and your child's home from now on. Just tell the servant what you want. Li Yuyu leaned her face closer to him and said, thank you, darling. When Wenromian's mother was being helped into the car by two people, her mouth still mumbling, my daughter, my daughter. As soon as she left the Liu residence, Nie Yunxiang's subordinate immediately came to report, Boss Nya, MS. Wen's mother has left the Liu residence. He asked calmly, where did she go? The man received new information and reported back to him, we were originally following her, but suddenly someone else chased after us and we lost track. But I have arranged for people to investigate. Nie Yinxiang picked up the documents and looked at them, immediately arranged for people, investigate the information. His subordinate received the order, I understand, boss. Alone in the office, Nie Yinxiang sat on the chair, recalling memories. A year ago, in the living room, he sat on the sofa, holding a glass of wine and carefully watching the screen. His subordinate stood behind him and reported. Boss, MS. Lu seems to want to go home. Nie Yinxiang did not take his eyes off the screen and said sternly, we can't let her go back, her father just used her insurance money to pay off debts, if she goes home now. She will definitely die, bring her back to me. On the other side, when Rumian was trying to make a phone call, sorry, the number you dialed does not exist, she thought sadly, I can't get through again. At this moment, Nie Yinxiang's subordinate came to find her and said respectfully, MS. Lu, Boss Nie wants to see you. When Rumian followed the man to see him, Boss Nie, you wanted to see me. Nie Yinxiang suddenly reached out and grabbed her neck, causing her to be stunned. After that, when Rumian immediately grabbed his hand with both hands. Nie Yinxiang looked at her escaping his hand and smiled, not bad, your defense and attack are very fast. She let go of his hand and asked, do you want to test me? Nie Yinxiang withdrew his hand and said, you have never let down your guard against your savior, why would you be unguarded against the person who wants to harm you? When Rumian exclaimed in shock, how? She looked at him in shock, how do you know, this is impossible. Nie Yinxiang held the wine glass and looked at her, he said calmly, if you want to protect yourself and the person you want to protect, you must become stronger. Do you think why your mother suddenly changed her phone number, she also wants to protect you? When Rumian lowered her eyes, looking depressed, what should I do? Nie Yinxiang approached her. He grabbed Rumian's chin and smiled softly, I will help you, but first, you have to listen to me. Someone kicked the door open and broke into Nie Yinxiang's office, stopping the memory. When Rumian walked in angrily, she slammed her hands on the table, questioning him. Luze announced his remarriage, why did not I know he had divorced my mother? When Rumian pointed to the news on the newspaper and asked him, what is going on? Nie Yinxiang did not say a word, he calmly signaled his subordinate to leave. Only then did he speak, I know that you always avoid contact with your father's information at my place. She clenched her hands and said, I know he used my death to get that insurance money. When Rumian continued, that money became a turning point in his business, and later his business grew bigger, and all of that was exchanged for sacrificing me. She raised her hand and gently wiped away her tears, saying in a choked tone, I actually know everything, but I just could not believe it. Nie Yinxiang slowly stood up from the chair, I know this is very difficult to accept, but you need to face it. He approached her and said, there is one more thing, related to your mother. When Rumian stopped crying as soon as she heard this, she anxiously asked Nie Yinxiang, what happened to my mother? He told her the news he had just received, I have always arranged for people to monitor her, but recently she has gone missing. When Rumian exclaimed in panic, what? Nie Yinxiang grabbed her hand and pulled her back, don't get agitated, I have arranged for people to find her. We will find her. When Rumian was silent. In the evening, at Bichang, she and Chen Ruoshi sat drinking at the bar. She opened her mouth, what is wrong, why are you so depressed after coming out of the boss's office? She replied sadly, I am fine. After that, when Rumian left Bichang. As soon as she stepped out of the door, several drunkards surrounded and harassed her, beauty, do not be in such a hurry, have a few drinks with us, with such a beautiful appearance. You must be a beauty from Bichang. When Rumian glanced at them coldly, get lost. A drunkard did not care, he stepped forward and put his arm around her shoulder, saying, don't be so fierce, little sister, come and play with us. Another one behind also chimed in, little sister, do not you have anyone by your side? Seeing that they were not leaving, she coldly smiled and said, looks like you guys are my punching bags. The drunkard became excited upon hearing this, he moved closer to Rumian, wanting to touch her, come on, beauty, you want me to be a garbage can, anything is fine, play with us for a while. Her face darkened, she chuckled, ha. Just then, a voice rang out from behind, you guys, let her go. The drunkards turned to look at the man who appeared, another one wanting to be a hero and save the damsel in distress, who do you think you are? That man was Guzepping, he sternly looked at them and said, I am her friend, you guys better get lost now. When Rumian glanced at Guzepping, coldly thinking, another refined scumbag wanting to take advantage. He stood there calmly, leisurely saying, it seems your friend has had too much to drink, I suggest you take him home. A drunkard stepped forward, wanting to hit Guzepping, looks like someone wants a beating. The other drunkards, seeing their companion make a move, also threw punches at him, then I will let you taste our power. Guzepping unexpectedly struck out, punching him in the stomach, ugh. Then he continued to deal with the remaining ones. Guzepping withdrew his hand, his face serious as he said, I do not want to hurt you, but do not force me. The drunkards helped each other leave, let us go, this guy is not easy to mess with. He turned to her and smiled gently, you are safe now, they won't be back. When Rumian smiled happily and said to Guzepping, thank you for saving me, he replied, you do not need to thank me, anyone in this situation, I would help. The two of them walked side by side. In her heart she thought, he has not asked for my phone number yet. When Rumian glanced at Giuseppe, guessing in her heart, could it be that he wants to take me home? At this time, he suddenly spoke, do you need me to call a car for you to go home? She forced a smile and did not answer, but in her heart she could not stop sneering. Haha, I knew it, this hero-saving beauty trick of the scumbag is just to pick up girls. After putting one Rumian in the taxi, Giuseppe stood by the road, waving goodbye to her, go quickly, do not drink and walk alone on the road so late in the future. In the car, she was still thinking about him, this guy actually did not ask for my phone number. When Rumian's apartment. In the bedroom, when Rumian was curled up on the large bed, she painfully hugged her stomach, ugh, it hurts so much. When Rumian got out of bed to find medicine, where's my painkiller? Her face turned pale because of the pain, when Rumian quickly took the medicine. She leaned wearily on the sofa, one hand holding a glass of water, the other hugging her stomach, no, I have to go to the hospital tomorrow. The next morning, at the hospital. When Rumian sat alone on the chair, looking at the number on her hand. A female nurse came out and called, number 39, when Rumian. She knocked on the door of the internal medicine clinic, inside a voice rang out, come in. Giuseppe was surprised when Rumian walked in, it is you. When Rumian was also stunned to see him, why is it you, are you a doctor? Giuseppe stood up and said with a smile, yes, I am an internal medicine doctor here, what a coincidence, we meet again, she replied, I am really grateful to you for last night. After a round of greetings, he began to examine when Rumian, sit down, where are you uncomfortable? She put her hand on her stomach and said, last night after drinking a little wine, I have been having intermittent pain. Giuseppe, after hearing when Rumian's description, said, stomach pain after drinking alcohol may be due to excessive stomach acid, come here, let me check. He leaned over, his hand gently touching her stomach, is it here? She replied, yes, it hurts there. After the examination, Giuseppe returned to his desk to write a prescription, I will prescribe some medicine for you, remember to take it on time, try not to drink alcohol on an empty stomach in the future. When Rumian replied, okay, I know, Dr. Gu. She stood up and said with a smile, thank you for last night and today, I have troubled you. He handed the prescription to Rumian, smiling kindly and saying, you do not need to be so polite, as a doctor, helping patients is my duty. Moreover, we can be considered friends, can't we? She was stunned at what Giuseppe said, friends. When Rumian looked at the prescription in her hand and whispered, friends, I like this term. He approached her and said softly, you know, your smile is very warm, this is how you usually are, but you do not like to smile much. When Rumian covered her mouth and laughed, teasing Giuseppe, Dr. Gu, are you usually so good at talking? He replied with a smile, I only talk to people who are worthy, go downstairs to get the medicine. I hope you recover soon, if you are still uncomfortable, you can come to me anytime. She opened the door and waved goodbye to him happily. Okay, Dr. Gu, goodbye, the door of the clinic gently closed, click. After when Rumian left, Giuseppe's face immediately darkened, with a sad expression, when Rumian, do not you remember me anymore. In the evening, at Bi Chang. A voice rang out in the hall, Boss Wen, all the reservations for tonight are full. When Rumian sat on the chair, looking at the books while listening to the assistant's report, are we taking any more reservations? She did not take her eyes off the book, replying with a cold expression, no, Bi Chang's reputation is outstanding, we must ensure our quality. Suddenly, a staff member ran in anxiously, Sister Mian, the VIP rooms for tonight are full, then Boss Chen's room, he specifically mentioned hoping for some special arrangements. When Rumian smiled slightly upon hearing this, then she began to arrange, I understand, go prepare some of his favorite wine, and arrange a small band to perform his favorite song on the spot. Remember, details determine everything. A hand holding a glass of wine gently shook it. The man holding the glass of wine, about to drink, suddenly stopped and looked forward. As soon as he saw her walk in, he stood up to greet her, Boss Wen, every time I come to Bi Chang, I can feel a new surprise. Wine was poured into a new glass. When Rumian held up the glass of wine and smiled happily, Boss Chen is too kind, I will toast you a glass. Boss Chen and she began to chat happily. When Rumian raised the wine and took a small sip. Late at night, after entertaining Boss Chen, her expression darkened with contemplation. In the office, when Rumian sat wearily on the chair, she reached out and rubbed her forehead. When Rumian pressed the button to call the assistant, Ling Ling, get me a cup of coffee. The person who walked in was Nye Yunxiang. He crossed his arms and leaned against the door, looking at her and saying, I heard that your stomach was uncomfortable when you got back yesterday. And you are still drinking coffee. Nye Yunxiang came over and placed a bottle of water on her desk. When Rumian picked up the bottle of water and drank, saying in an indifferent tone, just a minor illness, how dare I trouble Boss Nya to worry. He looked at the bustling Bi Chang below through the glass. When Rumian, you have been very outstanding, Bi Chang, under your management, has been doing very well in business these past few years. She twisted the cap back on the bottle of water, gently closing her eyes and saying, of course, I can't let you misjudge someone. Someone knocked on the door outside, a voice rang out, Sister Mion, a customer is causing trouble in the hall. She replied calmly, tell the security to drag them out. Lingling said hesitantly, that. She said embarrassedly, it is a girl, she is crying and making trouble, and she wants to take off her clothes. The security basically does not dare to approach. When Rumian sighed and said, I will go take a look. Down in the hall, a girl was shouting angrily, why did he leave me? She arrived to see her holding a bottle of wine in one hand and throwing her coat aside with the other. What did I do wrong? When Rumian calmly stood there and said, Madam, please calm down, you are affecting our business. That drunk girl did not care about what she said. She rushed up, wanting to smash the bottle of wine on Rumian. I do not need you to manage me. She immediately grabbed her hand, the wine in the bottle poured out. When Rumian looked at her coldly, I have warned you, if you continue to go crazy, I won't be polite. At this time, her friend also arrived. The friend supported the drunk girl, smiling awkwardly and saying, sorry, Sister Mion, she is not sober anymore, please do not be angry. We will take her away right away. The problem was solved. Everyone around began to talk about her. Is that the manager of Buyi Chang? She has a really good figure. From behind, someone came over and put a coat on Rumian. She turned her head and saw Nye Yunxiang. He looked at her and asked, are you okay? When Rumian took his coat and replied, just wet. Nye Yunxiang turned to Lingling and said, in the future, for such small matters, tell the assistant to handle it. If the assistant can't handle it, then they do not need to work anymore. She was stunned and speechless. After warning Rumian's assistant, he carried her away in front of everyone's eyes. Someone recognized Nye Yunxiang and exclaimed in surprise, wow, is not that young Master Nye, why did he appear? The bustling Buyi Chang suddenly became silent. Everyone watched him calmly carry her upstairs. Restroom. When Rumian sat on the sofa, looking at him hesitantly and saying, Boss Nye, I am wet, you. Nye Yunxiang turned and threw her a towel, wipe yourself clean. The towel hit her straight in the face, causing her to fall backwards, ah. When Rumian picked up the towel, she glanced at him, saying angrily, no wonder the rumors outside say your sexual orientation is abnormal. I am so beautiful but you are not interested. Nye Yunxiang turned his head upon hearing her say this and replied, the rumors outside, are not they spread by you? When Rumian's voice rang out, Boss Nye, if you are not interested in women. The two of them held teacups and sat on the sofa chatting, then why are you so good to me, because? He looked straight into her eyes, saying with a serious expression, you are worthy. She laughed slightly, I thought it was because I can make money. When Rumian put the teacup on the table and said, it was you who gave me a second life, you are always by my side. She moved closer to Nye Yunxiang, I am really very grateful. He only said, when Rumian, I once said that you can just be yourself, you do not need to thank me. When Rumian put her hand on Nye Yunxiang's hand, no, you do not know what you mean to me. She turned and pressed him onto the chair. When Rumian looked at Nye Yunxiang intently and said, you are the light in my darkness. In the restroom, when Rumian was leaning her hands on the chair, pressing her body close to Nye Yunxiang, the two faced each other. The atmosphere was extremely ambiguous. He reached out, gently pushing her shoulder. Nye Yunxiang stood up, turning his face away, avoiding when Rumian's gaze, said, when Rumian, I can't. She clenched her fists, asking somewhat harshly, why, am I nothing to you? He stood against the light, his voice cold and distant, Jihan, I have to tell you, I have always treated you like a younger sister. The expression on when Rumian's face gradually froze, her eyes dazed. Nye Yunxiang remained coldly unchanged, I rescued you, only because you and my younger sister are about the same age, only out of the affection of an older brother, nothing else. She laughed mockingly, younger sister, so that is all it is. When Rumian took steps closer to him, she placed her hand on her chest, I understand, I thought I was important, it was just me misunderstanding. Nye Yunxiang turned his head at this time, said with a forced smile, you are a very good girl, you deserve to love a better person. He said and turned to leave. The sound of the door closing was very cold, causing the little hope in Rumian to completely vanish. Nye Yunxiang took heavy steps on the stairs. He closed his eyes, whispering softly to himself, no, Rumian, you are very important. Yunxiang whispered, but I can't let you get caught up in my world. He sat in the study, the dim moonlight shining on him. Nye Yunxiang recalled his past. At that time, he was kneeling on the tile floor, in front of the major shareholders and his family. Nye Kuan looked at his son who was still kneeling on the ground, his eyes stern. He asked, Yunxiang, do you really want to give up the position of heir? Do you know what that means? Nye Yunxiang raised his head stiffly. He replied clearly, I know, Dad, but I have made a choice. Nye Kuan was really angry at his stubbornness. He fell back on the chair behind him, angrily shouting, so you choose to find your own death. Uncle Chen, a subordinate of Nye Kuan, hurriedly came over, helped him up and persuaded him, boss, do not force the young master anymore. Uncle Chen glanced at him, coaxing him gently, he is just not thinking clearly for the moment, I watched him grow up, let me persuade him. The two left the meeting room. Nye Yunxiang still firmly said, Uncle Chen, I can't become a member of them, I have to leave, for myself, and for the future. Uncle Chen did not force him. He pointed in another direction, saying, if you have decided, then do not turn back, go quickly. Yunxiang drove away. The mountain road was narrow and dark, the white car was lonely on that road. At Bi Chang, he stood looking at himself in the mirror, adjusting his tie, thinking, finally, I can start over. A subordinate entered from outside with a document. Young Master Nya, this is Lu Zhe's payment record. We have investigated but have not found any clues about MS. Wen's mother. Nya Yunxiang, after hearing the report, ordered, send more people, continue to investigate. At Bi Chang, people danced happily. Lu Zhe led Boss Chen into a pre-booked room, saying generously, Boss Chen, tonight, we won't go home until we are drunk. Boss Chen also replied to him, Boss Lu. You invite, we naturally have to have fun. Boss Chen casually pulled a waitress over, he said happily, Yo, beauty. His unclean hand gradually fell on the girl's waist. Boss Chen invited her, have a drink with me. The staff member felt his impolite touch, and secretly felt uneasy. She resisted, backing away, panicking and calling out, Sir, please respect yourself. Boss Chen still grabbed the staff member's hand, saying rudely, make it clear. I am giving you face by touching you. He tore her clothes without restraint. The waitress was stunned by his unexpected blow, only managing to blush and cry out, ah. Boss Chen forcefully pressed her down on the leather chair. The staff member closed her eyes in pain. Boss Chen pulled on his belt, his face evil, contemptuously saying, working here, what is the point of pretending to be pure? Suddenly, the door was kicked open, a pair of black high heels stepped in. Before the shock of those inside, that person said, I am the manager of this place. When Rumian appeared in a formal suit, she coldly asked, may I ask if there is anything I can help you with? Lu Zhe clearly recognized her, he secretly exclaimed, Jihan. Boss Chen was tipsy, he said even more wildly, what are you? We are having fun, do you want to play with us? When Rumian took off her coat and put it on the staff member, putting on a commercial smile, she said, RB Chang very much welcomes distinguished guests. But we also hope that you can respect our staff. Boss Chen still approached recklessly, he insulted her, respect, working in a place like this, what respect is there to speak of? Lu Zhe was still immersed in his own doubts, he stuttered, this is impossible, is not she dead already? She made a welcoming gesture, coldly turning her face away to see off the guests, then our place does not need your respect either, drag him out. Lu Zhe, silent from before, now spoke, you are the manager of this place, looking at your age, you are still very young, how long have you been at Bi Chang? When Rumian looked at him vigilantly, Boss Lu, what does this have to do with you harassing our staff? Lu Zhe put on the air of an elder, but his words could not hide his malice. I am just curious, someone as young and talented as you, why can you be the manager of this place at such a young age? Boss Chen was now seated, glancing at her sarcastically, I heard that the manager of this place is Boss Nye's lover. Lu Zhe also echoed, lover, no wonder. He approached Wen Rumian, probing, if Jihan were still alive, she would probably be about your age. She remained calm, standing straight and replying, Boss Lu, I do not know what you are talking about. When Rumian answered the unreasonable insults of the two people in front of her resolutely, but no matter who I look like, it won't affect the fate of you being thrown out today. The atmosphere instantly fell into unprecedented tension, the two looked at each other, trying to find the other's flaws. Security guards entered from the outside, grabbing Boss Chen. Lu Zhe still smiled shamelessly, Manager Wen, this is my guest. Boss Chen shouted loudly, let me go. But she was still calm, as if nothing had happened, yes. When Rumian said seriously, but our Bi Chang has the rules of Bi Chang, any customer must abide by them, please leave here immediately with your friend. Lu Zhe did not see the worsening of her expression, still boasting, you open a business, this city is not just your place for entertainment, there is no benefit in offending us for a mere staff member. When Rumian did not show any respect anymore, directly kicking them out, and emphasizing each word, this lady wants to offend you, you get out, for me. Lu Zhe lost face, his eyes turned to her warningly, when Rumian, you just wait. The security guards followed the order and took him away, go. When Rumian watched Lu Zhe's back, she bitterly spat out each word, although I knew I would meet him sooner or later. When Rumian softly muttered, but I am, still, not ready. Boss Chen could not stand this insult, loudly shouting as he left, let us go somewhere else, it is no fun playing with the girls here. Lu Zhe was still lost in thought, that can't be Jihan, Jihan has. Although the face is a bit similar, the temperament is completely different. When Rumian returned to the apartment, soaking in the bathtub, she felt her mind was blank. Suddenly, there was a shadow of someone pushing the door open outside, reminding, pay attention to the time when soaking, do not soak until you faint. When Rumian stepped out of the bathtub, picked up the bathrobe and towel. She tied the robe while wiping the water droplets still lingering on her hair, asked, why are you here so late, do not you have to go to City H tomorrow to discuss business? That person did not answer, but asked another question instead, I heard you met Lu Zhe today. Yunxiang adjusted his tie, glancing over, why are you so impatient, we have not found your mother yet. When Rumian suddenly shouted, like a cat whose tail had been stepped on, it is not too easy to kill him, is it? She explained, Lu Zhe is decent on the outside, but he is actually too dirty, his methods are extremely disgusting, he does not just come to Bi Chang once or twice. I will run into him at Bi Chang sooner or later. When Rumian averted her eyes, her face turned bad, her voice was also softer, but after so many years, I am still not ready. Yunxiang patiently asked, are you scared? She nodded, admitting her emotions. Afraid that the person in front of her would change the plan, when Rumian raised her head, saying firmly, but you can rest assured, I won't involve you, because I do not want to die yet. Absolutely do not want to die a second time. Yunxiang did not mention that matter again, reaching out and picking up the hairdryer, okay. He plugged in the hairdryer, changing the subject, don't talk about these things anymore, lest you get cold, let me dry your hair. She asked in return, are you sure? The dignified owner of Bi Cheng can also be a coolie. Yunxiang only smirked, don't dawdle, turn around quickly. The sound of the hairdryer rang out evenly, the warm wind penetrated through every strand of Wenrumian's hair. Yunxiang looked at her expression, comforting her, I know you definitely have pressure facing Lu Zhe today, he advised, but revenge can't be rushed, I do not hope you take risks in a situation you are not prepared for. When Rumian lowered her eyes, a look of disgust flashed in her eyes, it is not that I am unprepared, I knew that sooner or later, there would be a day when I would meet him again. His hand rested on her shoulder, Xiao Mian. Yunxiang turned Wenrumian around, affirming, I want to tell you, no matter what happens, I will help you. She was surprised, but still obediently spoke her heart, but I can't just rely on you, I have to face it myself. Slender fingers lightly touched Wenrumian's red lips, gently lifting her chin. Yunxiang looked at her, his eyes filled with affection, I once said, you do not need to bear everything alone. When Rumian avoided his gaze, Nya Yunxiang, you are making it very difficult for me not to be moved. She turned away, uncomfortably reminding him, Nya Yunxiang. If you do not accept me, then do not flirt with me. When Rumian pushed Nya Yunxiang's hand away, saying, go back, do not you still have to go to City H tomorrow for work? Seeing this cold attitude of hers, his heart was flustered, Xiao Mian, I. When Rumian turned her head, pretending not to hear, Yunxiang could only sigh in his heart. At Teve Square. Lu Jiyu, Wen Rumian's half-sister. Lu Jiyu gave the card to the staff member, snobbishly, I want this bag, wrap it up for me. The staff member took the card, saying professionally, okay, madam, please wait a moment. The staff member swiped the card for payment, then gave a commercial smile and asked, madam, there seems to be a slight problem with your credit card, do you have any other payment methods? Lu Jiyu was stunned upon hearing this, she shouted, this is impossible, try again for me. The staff member still persisted in swiping again, but the results were not very promising. She asked, it still does not work after swiping again, do you have another card? Lu Jiyu was angry, pointing directly at the staff member's face and scolding, stupid, you do not even know how to swipe a card, call your manager out here. The store manager, hearing the commotion, hurried over to investigate, hello, is there a problem? Lu Jiyu, seeing the manager, became even louder, this card has never had a problem. Check it clearly. The manager, also very professionally, tried again several times, then announced, I am very sorry, madam, the system shows that your card has exceeded its limit. Lu Jiyu did not argue anymore, she went outside to make a phone call to someone. On Lu Zhe's side, he was working when he heard the phone ringing. Lu Zhe answered the phone, asking impatiently, Jiyu, what is the matter again? Lu Jiyu hurriedly complained, Dad, why is my credit card limit locked? I am at the shopping mall, do you know how embarrassed I am? But to her surprise, he only said coldly, your allowance is already enough, and you still swipe your credit card over the limit every month like that. If you continue to be extravagant, do not blame me for not being polite. Lu Jiyu shouted angrily, you do not love me, you only care about money. Lu Zhe was not a soft persimmon either, he replied firmly, if you continue like this, I will kick you out of the house, so you can go earn your own money. The phone was hung up, she was completely stunned by her father's words. Just when Lu Jiyu was angry, a voice suddenly broke in, excuse me, sorry to bother you. When Rumian stepped forward, asking in a seemingly friendly way, are you a fashion blogger? Your outfit is really stylish. Lu Jiyu, praised, was like a peacock spreading its tail, she stroked her hair, trying to show off her body, replying to the compliment, oh, thank you, I really spent a lot of thought on it. When Rumian spoke again, actually, I have a request. Lu Jiyu quickly fell into the trap, what request? She then pretended to be weak, voicing her request, I have to attend a very important party tonight, but I am not as knowledgeable about fashion. As you are, I do not know if I can ask you to help me choose an outfit and jewelry that suits me. Lu Jiyu said smugly, of course, I am very happy to help. She turned her back, starting to choose clothes for Wenrumian attentively. Lu Jiyu took a red dress from the clothes rack, held it up to her and said, this dress is very suitable for your temperament, and this color can accentuate your skin tone. When Rumian looked at the girl who was looking at her with sparkling eyes, naturally saying, you really have a good eye, I like this style, I will go try it on. The dressing room curtain was pulled open, Lu Jiyu looked over, proudly, see, I knew you would be very suitable for this dress. When Rumian, in a red wine dress, the dress hugged her body, stepped out with a noble temperament, she said, really too perfect, you are so good. Lu Jiyu turned away to select jewelry, she picked up an expensive diamond necklace. Again brought it over to try it on her, persuading, combined with this necklace and earrings, it will make you more prominent at the party. When Rumian let her put the necklace on for herself, then looked in the mirror, admiring it with excitement. Too beautiful, Miss Lu, you really are my fashion savior, how should I thank you? When Rumian seemed to remember something, exclaiming, that is right, she took the bag that Lu Jiu had put down earlier, brought it to the checkout counter. You wanted to buy this bag just now, right? To thank you, I can give you this bag, she warned, this bag is not cheap. When Rumian flipped up the price tag under the bag to look, then said generously, it is not worth that much money to me. Lu Jiu scratched her ear, not expecting this person to actually pay for her. She secretly exclaimed in her head, wow, where did this rich sister come from? She took the bag, turned to her and said, I really feel that this bag is very suitable for a girl as aesthetic and tasteful as you. When Rumian said softly, I hope you accept this little gift, hoping it can bring you a happy mood, she said to the clerk, pay for both me and her. The clerk quickly agreed, okay. Lu Jiu seemed to like this girl very much, suggesting, thank you, let us add each other on WeChat. You can find me if you have any needs in this regard in the future. When Rumian also happily agreed, okay. She held out the chat screen, introducing herself friendly, very happy to meet you. I am Lu Jiu, she replied, I am also very happy, Miss Lu. Waiting for when Rumian to change out of the dress, the two left the store together. Lu Jiu suggested, to thank you for giving me an expensive gift, how about I treat you to coffee? She agreed, okay, I am also tired from walking. At Kayaksayan coffee shop. When Rumian was sipping her coffee, while bringing up a topic, do you often come to this shopping mall? We can make an appointment to go shopping together in the future, she replied, okay. At this time, she asked out her guess in her heart, pretending to inquire, saying, just now when I saw you talking on the phone, you did not seem very happy, did you encounter any problems? Lu Jiu poked her soda irritably, replying sulkily, isn't it because of my trash father, complaining that I spend too much, locking my card. When Rumian appeared to empathize, being angry for her, looking at your clothes, your family conditions are not ordinary either, you must also be a young lady from some family. You know, family businesses always have expectations for sons, but daughters are often ignored. Lu Jiu, as if finding a confidant, quickly told her, that is right. My dad ignores me, I feel like I do not have much of a sense of existence in my dad's eyes. Suddenly, she remembered something, asking, that is right, you are so rich, are you also a young lady from some family? She did not answer immediately, only taking a sip of coffee, replying indifferently, now I rarely go home, my dad does not treat me very well, so I have become independent on my own. Lu Jiu said sympathetically, every family has its own difficulties. When Rumian again put on a mysterious look, telling her in a low voice, do you know why I do not contact my family? Because they want to turn me into a pawn, used for business alliances. She was stunned by her words, not saying anything more. Lu Jiu stirred her soda, in her head she had already begun to guess, based on her dad's personality, the majority of the Lu family's assets and the company would definitely be left to her younger brother Lu Tianlin in the future. At that time she would definitely be regarded as a tool just like Sister Wen. A jet black card was brought in front of her, when Rumian's voice rang out, inviting, Miss Lu, our bar has an event next month, called Beat When Covering Eyes. You can come and play, and give me some suggestions along the way. Lu Jiu looked at the business card, quickly recognizing, wow, Immortal City, is not this the most high-end club in our place? Suddenly, the phone rang. She picked up the phone. When Rumian answered the phone, not knowing what was said on the other end, only seeing her face turn very bad. When Rumian asked loudly, what did you say? 3 hours later, several cars followed each other on a dark mountain road. The car stopped in front of a large iron gate, Bob Manor. Nye Yinsheng got out of the car, closing the door and ordering, you guys wait for me here, I will go in alone. The bodyguards lined up, replying, yes, boss Nya. 2 people from the manor came out, leading the way for him inside. Entering the hall, they automatically separated to both sides, making a welcoming gesture. A man received Yinxiang, calling very respectfully, Boss Nya. He was Bob Ray, the owner of the manor. Bob Ray stood up, saying proudly, welcome you to Bob Manor. A pot of pre-made tea was placed on the table. Bob Ray and he sat opposite each other. Yinxiang spoke first, Boss Bob, I came here for that batch of goods, I hope we can get straight to the point, he replied generously. Of course, I very much appreciate Boss Nya's straightforwardness. Bob Ray sipped the tea, his eyes full of calculations, but before that, I want to know, how do you plan to use this batch of goods? Those things are prohibited in your country. He did not hesitate to reply, I have such a big immortal city, of course there will be a need for it, I do not need to tell you specifically how it is used. Only then did he reveal his true nature. In our industry, trust is a luxury, so Boss Nya, do not blame me for asking a few more questions. Nye Yinxiang also replied, I came in alone, is not this sincerity enough? Bob Ray was provoked to laugh loudly by his words, haha. He was very satisfied with this answer, quickly reaching out to lead the way, then I won't say any more nonsense, Boss Nya, you go check the goods. He stood up, following Bob Ray. A mini camera was already attached to the button of his shirt. Bob Ray led him straight to the warehouse, with bodyguards guarding beside it. He introduced, Boss Nya, these are the best goods in our place, feel free to check. Nye Yunxiang also did not hesitate, he stepped forward, picked up a rifle, and started checking the goods. The Bob family's goods are indeed new technology. Bob Ray was very proud of the quality, saying, "You must know, we never compromise on quality." His gaze fell on him. Then it swept to the armory. Yunxiang put the gun down, saying, "No problem, I can arrange to transfer the money now." Bob Ray was satisfied with this transaction. Boss Nye is straightforward. He was about to say something more, so now suddenly the phone rang. Bob Ray's pupils constricted. On the phone screen, a text message made his spine cold. "The buyer is a spy." Bob Ray ordered, "Capture him." The bodyguards immediately pounced on him. Yunxiang pretended not to understand what was happening, asking, "What do you mean? Didn't I say I would transfer the money immediately?" A gun quickly aimed at his temple. He did not hold back, saying, "Boss Nye, you are too naive. Did you think I would really do business with someone like you?" Nye Yunxiang still tried to argue, "Is there some misunderstanding between us?" Bob Ray did not explain further, but ordered, "Lock him up." "Yes." The bodyguards rushed over. He had no way out, he could only fight back, grabbing a long stick from one of them, then using his elbow to knock him down. The others quickly rushed over. Nye Yunxiang struggled to resist. He turned and ran away, the people behind still chasing after him relentlessly. Suddenly, a bullet flew to Nye Yunxiang's leg, causing him to lose his balance. Bob Ray pointed the gun at Yunxiang. "Boss Nye, did you really think I did not know your true purpose?" He still pretended not to know. "I do not know what you are talking about." He tilted his head, saying coldly, "Did you think you could fool me? I knew from the beginning that you were not sincerely here to do business." Yunxiang slightly turned his head, he affirmed, "I am sure there is some misunderstanding between us." Bob Ray still did not believe him. He also gave up, letting himself be captured. He shouted, "Stop talking nonsense, tie him up quickly, he is still valuable, I want to see who exactly wants to deal with me." Yunxiang was led to a small well, his hands were controlled behind him. Bob Ray crossed his arms, coldly ordering, "Throw him in, let him slowly ponder." Seconds later, the bodyguards quickly pushed him into the well. The sound of a heavy object falling into the water rang out clearly. Yunxiang struggled to emerge from the water, trying to breathe in every bit of scarce air. He looked around, it was dark under the well, there were many other people floating up like him, some had already lost their lives. Yunxiang thought, "It seems this place is where they imprison and punish criminals." He looked up at the mouth of the well, it was towering high. Yunxiang felt a surge of helplessness for the first time. "I can't die here, I have to find a way out." Seeing the people in the compound running in one direction, Chen Feng, hiding nearby, whispered, "This is bad, something happened, retreat." He got in the car, calling Wen Rumian to inform her, "Sister Mian, we have run into trouble." She heard the news, anxiously asking, "What happened?" The person on the other end explained the situation to her. "Boss Nye was captured by the people of the manor. We tried to save Boss Nye, but the other side is too numerous, we can't confront them directly." Wen Rumian stood up to the surprise of Lu Jiu. She put a card on the table, turning her back. "Sorry, I have some urgent business to attend to. This is all the activities of our club next month. Contact me when you want to come." She picked up the card to look at it, thinking with interest, so many activities. At the airport in City H. Chen Feng helped Wen Rumian pull the luggage, anxiously. "Sister Mian, you finally arrived," she asked. "What is the situation? Is there any new news about Nye Yunxiang?" He replied, "After Boss Nye went in, he suddenly disappeared. I arranged for people to disguise themselves as repairmen to go in, but did not find any trace of Boss Nye. But we have obtained a map of the manor, we can enter through the blind spots of the camera." Wen Rumian said sternly, ordering, "Good, we need to divide into two groups to take action. One group is responsible for distracting the attention of the guards. The other group is responsible for saving Nye Yunxiang." The two walked and discussed countermeasures. Wen Rumian said, "Time is urgent, we must prepare everything before dark." The two finally arrived at Bob Manor. Following the outside wall, everyone walked and discussed. She ordered, "Remember, our goal is to quietly enter the manor, do not alarm anyone." Chen Feng, closely following behind, also replied, "We understand, our people have controlled the camera system, we can go in now." When Rumian took the lead, climbing over the wall first, the guards below also climbed after. She said into the earpiece, "Small groups pay attention, report immediately if you find anything." The guards looked down from the high floors. When Rumian held the gun, groping and moving deeper inside. After a round of searching, the guards all shook their heads to report, "Boss Nye was not found, Group B also has no discovery." At the same time, outside the manor, the guards saw dozens of cars entering in a line, quickly reporting to her, "Report, Bob Ray is on the way back to the manor, expected to arrive in 10 minutes. Chen Feng heard this, whispered, "This is bad, Bob Ray is about to return, we must leave immediately, speed up the search, time is running out, we will check again in the basement." The voice in the earpiece rang again, "Bob Ray's car has entered the range of the camera, will arrive in 5 minutes. He grabbed Wen Rumian's wrist, calling, "Boss Wen." Chen Feng, with a firm gaze, tried to persuade her, "We have searched all the places, and still have not found Boss Nye, now we have to leave immediately." Wen Rumian did not reply to him immediately. After a long silence, she spoke, "Impossible, he must be here, I can't leave before finding Ye Yinxiang." Bob Ray had returned. He stepped out of the car, standing in front of the manor door. Bob Ray looked up at the manor with suspicious eyes. Realizing the situation was not good, Chen Feng tried to persuade her, "Boss Wen, we won't have time anymore, it is really not possible to continue searching," when Rumian was silent. Obviously unable to accept this fact. Suddenly, she remembered, wait, Nye Yinxiang's phone. He was also startled. What, was not Boss Nye's phone turned off? When Rumian explained, he once installed a locator in my phone, even if it is turned off, it can still send a signal. And I remember my phone has a reverse tracking feature. She gave her phone to Chen Feng, see if this feature works. He said very confidently, yes, Boss Wen, no problem. After a while of operating, Chen Feng exclaimed, I have found Boss Nye's location. When Rumian exclaimed, that is great, on this side, both of them said in unison, go. Following the guidance of the device, he and another guard went in that direction. Chen Feng stopped in front of the well, saying, Boss Wen, we are here, Boss Nye must be inside this. When Rumian tied the rope to her waist, requesting, you guys wait above, if I encounter any problems, pull me up immediately, he replied, okay, Boss Wen be careful. She called softly, Nye Yinxiang. The flashlight shone to where Nye Yinxiang was standing, he was in a state of near unconsciousness. When Rumian exclaimed in surprise, Nye Yinxiang. The rope reached Yinxiang, she tried her best to pull him closer to herself, persisting, I am here to save you. Nye Yinxiang seemed to be more awake, he exclaimed, ugh. Nye Yinxiang opened his eyes dimly, calling softly, when Rumian, she replied, it is me. Another rope was lowered into the well, floating on the water. When Rumian tied the rope to him, stroking his pale face, she whispered, Nye Yinxiang, I need you to stay awake, we have to leave this place together. Chen Feng shone the light down from above, announcing, Boss Wen, we will pull you both up now. When Rumian, while trying to support Nye Yinxiang, leaned her back against the well, lifting herself up. After a while, the two were finally pulled out of the well. Chen Feng cried out in joy, Boss Nye, Boss Wen, thank heavens. When Rumian stood at the mouth of the well, ordering, we can't stay here long, let us go quickly, the subordinates said in unison, okay. Bob Ray entered the manor, it was empty inside, he asked, where is everyone, where are the guards? Feeling threatened, Bob Ray frowned. He felt like heaven and earth had turned upside down, a guard was lying sprawled on the ground. Realizing that something was wrong, Bob Ray frowned even deeper. He loudly ordered, immediately seal off the manor, can't let anyone leave. The three were hiding behind a bush, Yunxiang said weakly, Chen Feng, you take Wen Rumian away first. Do not worry about me. Wen Rumian also did not show weakness, if I have come, then I won't leave you behind. Chen Feng voiced his guess, Bob Ray has returned, we can't leave along the previous route, she crossed her arms, then there is no other way out. He stroked his chin, this manor, has a back door, but, we can't go now either. When Rumian discovered something, speaking up, Chen Feng, give me the lighter, let Bob Ray's men be busy putting out the fire, we will take the opportunity to leave. Chen Feng objected slightly, but Boss Wen, this is very dangerous, if the fire gets out of control. Her face suddenly became serious, we have to take a risk, this is our only chance. The sound of flint striking against each other, a fire was lit. Smoke began to rise. Realizing something was wrong, Bob Ray exclaimed, what happened over there, why is there smoke, go check it out quickly, the guard received the order, yes. They turned back and reported, Mr. Bob Ray, the west garden is on fire, he angrily ordered, humph, go put out the fire quickly, my goods are still inside. When Rumian supported Nye Yinxiang, limping out, she encouraged, Nye Yinxiang, persevere. Chen Feng went ahead, having prepared the car, he guided, Boss Nye, get in the car quickly. The three quickly got into the car, leaving. After driving for a long time, she finally relaxed, sighing, she said, finally safe, Nye Yinxiang blamed, you were too risky. When Rumian said angrily, is it only allowed for you to save me, I can't save you, he was stunned by her scolding and could only be silent. The guard, after getting out of the well, reported, sir, there is no one below. Bob Ray gritted his teeth, he hissed through his teeth, sure enough, it was that Chinese rescuer who caused it. Setting fire on the surface, but the reality is to save people. Bob Ray turned around, ordering the guard, chase after them for me, can't let them escape, his subordinates quickly replied, yes. Chen Feng looked at the rearview mirror, announcing, they have chased after, we have to find a way to shake them off. When Rumian observed the terrain, suggesting, there is a bend ahead, we can try there, he replied, okay. Then stepping on the accelerator, Chen Feng said loudly, hold on tight. Two cars chased closely on the winding mountain road. Chen Feng glanced at the rearview mirror, gritting his teeth and snorting coldly, then turned the steering wheel hard to make a turn. The mountain road had many hidden bends, the two chasing cars did not have time to turn the steering wheel, crashing into the railing, plunging into the ravine. The three also suffered a slight shock. Yunxiang, worried about Wen Rumian, used his body to shield her, his whole body swaying from the shock caused by the turn. Already injured, now with a strong impact causing Nye Yunxiang's forehead to bleed, when Rumian looked at the liquid flowing down his cheek, exclaiming in panic, Nye Yunxiang. The two chasing cars had been cut off, struggling to climb up from the edge of the ravine. On her side, the situation was not very good either. Yunxiang had passed out. No matter how she called, he did not wake up. When Rumian supported him, she called, Nye Yunxiang, wake up. Bob Manor. The guard, after answering the phone, hurried to report the news to Bob Ray. They did not catch up, and lost some brothers. He heard the returned information and was angry. Shouting loudly, they also burned my goods, I won't let them go. At the emergency room. When Rumian was helping the doctors and nurses push Nye Yunxiang, unconscious and comatose, on a stretcher, she hoarsely said, Nye Yunxiang, please persevere. The nurse pushed the patient into the emergency room, turning her head to remind, family members please wait outside. Rumian, with tears in her eyes, said in a pleading voice. I beg you, you must save him. Chen Feng sat with her on the waiting bench outside, looking at Wen Rumian, covering her mouth and sobbing. He comforted her, Sister Mian, Boss Nya will be fine. The nurse attached the measuring device to his chest. The beeping sound from the monitor rang out at the same time. She hurriedly ran out to report, Doctor, blood pressure is dropping. The doctor just arrived, hearing this, immediately gave the order, prepare adrenaline, quickly. The doctors and nurses in charge replied, yes. The nurse ran outside, asking, who is Nye Yunxiang's family member? When Rumian heard the call, standing up abruptly, answering quickly, it is me, what is wrong, doctor? She popularized his situation in brief, with seriousness, Mr. Nye's condition is very dangerous, he lost too much blood, he needs surgery immediately. She nearly collapsed, but still resolutely patted her chest. What blood type does he need? I can donate blood. The nurse handed Rumian a piece of paper, instructing, we will take care of it, this is the surgery consent form, we need a family member to sign so we can perform the surgery immediately. She replied, let me sign. She asked further, may I ask if you are the patient's wife? When Rumian was a little flustered, but still answered, no, I am his friend. The nurse took back the registration form, frowning, we need a direct relative to sign, friends are not allowed, it must be someone with a legally recognized family relationship. She hesitated, but when Rumian clenched her hands, trying to explain, I am his closest person, his parents are not here, he does not have any direct relatives in this city either. She still refused firmly, I am sorry, this is the regulation. Seeing that nothing could be changed, she could only take a deep breath, making a decision after a moment of thought. When Rumian reasoned, regulations are dead, but people are alive, he just needs to wake up, I will immediately marry him, is that okay? The nurse was stunned by her, speechless, you. Waiting in the hallway, when Rumian could only helplessly cover her face, praying, Nye Yunxiang, you must get through this. She closed her eyes, sincerely. Recalling the beautiful memories between the two, when Yunxiang taught martial arts to Wen Rumian. Or the time she fell asleep at her desk, he gently draped a thin blanket over her. A tear of sincerity welled up from her closed eyes, when Rumian pleaded, nothing can happen to you. She was worried to the point of madness, anxiously asking, why have not they come out yet, how is he exactly? Chen Feng, although worried, still tried to reassure Wen Rumian. Sister Mian, the doctors will do their best, Boss Nya will be fine. She covered her mouth, muttering to herself, yeah, he will definitely be fine. The lights in the operating room suddenly went out. From inside, the doctor's voice rang out, Nye Yunxiang's family member. When Rumian stood up immediately, it is me, how is he? The doctor removed his gloves, announcing, the surgery was very successful, but he needs to be observed in the ICU for a period of time. You can visit him now, but please keep it quiet. She said happily, okay, thank you doctor. 2 days later, at the ICU. Yunxiang lay on the bed, surrounded by wires connected to devices measuring his vital signs. When Rumian pressed herself against the glass door, staring intently inside, Chen Feng also could not help but persuade, Sister Mian, you have not slept for 2 days. If you keep this up, your body won't be able to take it, she stubbornly replied, I have to wait here for him to wake up. He reminded sternly, the doctor also said Boss Nya will wake up soon, if you are so haggard, Boss Nya will be even sadder when he sees you. When Rumian was still reluctant, continuing to look for a while, hesitating, but Chen Feng was helpless, I promise you, I will always be here, go home and take a shower, rest for a few hours, if anything happens, I will inform you immediately. She finally agreed reluctantly, okay, I will stay at a nearby hotel, I will be back very soon. When Rumian had just finished showering when the phone rang, she quickly answered the call. When Rumian asked in a panic, Chen Feng, what is wrong? Her eyebrows furrowed, the person on the other end urged, Sister Mian, come over here quickly, Boss Nye's situation is not good. When Rumian arrived, flustered, what happened? Chen Feng was also flustered, frowning and saying, I am not very clear about the specific situation either, Boss Nye suddenly developed a fever for some reason. She pressed her face to the glass, looking inside, the doctor was performing the inspection, he said, the doctor is treating Boss Nye, when Rumian desperately called his name, Nye Yunxiang. Her eyes widened, clearly very painful. Seeing Yunxiang sweating constantly, his mouth moving indistinctly, Wen Rumian's heart was as if someone was cutting through it, calling painfully, "Nye Yunxiang." The doctor stepped out, announcing, "We just received the test report, Mr. Nya was diagnosed with Acinetobacter baumannii infection after surgery." She, worried, raised her voice slightly. "What is that? Is it serious?" Wen Rumian listened with a look of panic as the doctor said, "This is a very strong multi-drug resistant bacteria. Current antibiotic treatments are not effective for Mr. Nya. We have to implement other measures immediately, otherwise the situation will be very dangerous." She struggled to say each word, pleading earnestly, "Doctor, please be sure to save him." He patted Wen Rumian's shoulder, reassuring, "Don't worry, we will do our best." She asked awkwardly, "Doctor, can I go in and visit him?" The doctor thought for a moment, then went in with her. "You can, but only for 10 minutes. Looking at the man who had once sheltered her, now lying there motionless, Wen Rumian was stunned. She stroked his hands. Wen Rumian took Yunxiang's hand, confiding, "Nye Yunxiang, do you know how scared I was when Feng said you were missing? I desperately searched for you. Finally discovering you barely breathing under the well." He was still like the day he was rescued, sleeping soundly, causing her great pain. Although she had rescued him, he continued to sleep. When Rumian pleaded softly, "Why do you keep sleeping? Please, wake up quickly." Purple eyes sparkled with tears. She frowned, "I am so tired, Nye Yunxiang. I feel like I can't hold on anymore. When will you finally wake up?" The doctor patted her shoulder, comforting. When Rumian startled and exclaimed, "Ugh," he advised her, "Ms. When you go rest." The doctor explained, "We have used new antibiotics for Mr. Nya. If he can reduce his fever tonight, he should be okay." When Rumian said gratefully, "Thank you, doctor." A day later, she was still wiping Yunxiang's body as usual. Sitting next to the hospital bed, When Rumian always gently repeated a sentence, "Nye Yunxiang, I will always be here, until you recover." Suddenly, his fingers twitched. To her astonishment, Yunxiang spoke up, "Xiao Mian." Seeing that the person in her heart had woken up, When Rumian happily took his hand, calling, "Nye Yunxiang." Her eyes widened in surprise. "You woke up," Yunxiang replied softly, "Yeah." Overjoyed, When Rumian leaned on his chest and cried, "That is great, you finally came back." Hurting, Yunxiang exclaimed, "Hiss." She quickly sat up, flusteredly saying, Sorry, I forgot you were injured. It is good that you woke up. I will go call the doctor now." The doctor checked Yunxiang's condition, carefully looking at his pupillary response. He removed his gloves, announcing, "Mr. Nya is out of danger. His health indicators are basically stable. He can be transferred to a normal ward." When Rumian excitedly replied, "Okay, I will immediately go do the transfer procedures for him." After transferring to a regular ward, she still took care of Yunxiang very carefully. When Rumian adjusted the pillow height, asking with concern, "Is it more comfortable like this?" He replied, "With you here, anything is comfortable." She said shyly, "You really know how to talk." The nurse carried the tray of medicine in, interrupting the flotation of the two, "Mr. Nya, it is time to change the medicine." The nurse, while changing the 4-bag, said, "Your wife really knows how to take care of the sick. She has been here all night, not daring to leave for even half a step. You are so lucky to have a wife like this." When Rumian shyly denied at this time, I am not his wife, I am just his subordinate." Nye Yunxiang teased, "Still just a subordinate," she awkwardly corrected, can also be considered a friend, a type that has saved each other's lives." He frowned, his eyes suddenly flashing with indescribable pain. The nurse, seeing this, helped to defuse the situation. "This friend of yours is too good to you. Anyone who did not know would think you two were a couple." When Rumian still did not realize the difference, bringing the porridge out to feed him, the doctor said, "You need to eat some easily digestible food. I specially prepared these things." Suddenly, Yunxiang took her hand, "Xiao Mian, I have something to say to you." When Rumian was puzzled, "What is it?" He looked into her eyes, sincerely, "When my identity was discovered at Bob Manor, I was not afraid of being chased by a group of people. I also was not afraid. But when I was pushed into the well, realizing that I might never be able to get out, never be able to see you again, I was very scared." When Rumian was frightened by these words of his, asking awkwardly, "Why are you suddenly saying this?" Yunxiang interrupted her, "Xiao Mian, look at me." He said, "Only after a person experiences the test of life and death can they understand what they truly want." She also honestly replied, I did these things for you. They are all things that should be done, so you do not need to feel grateful to me and be like this." Yunxiang interrupted again, "Listen to me. Before I rejected you because I did not want to drag you into the darkness around me." When Rumian's eyes widened, listening in surprise as he expressed his heart, "Actually, Yunxiang was full of sincerity, have always loved you." She still had not had time to digest all the information, asking back in a daze, "What?" He pulled When Rumian back, holding her in his arms, "Sorry for letting you know now. I really only realized this problem at that moment. Forgive me for always rejecting you before. Are you willing to be with me?" She hesitated, wanting to confirm for sure. "Nye Yunxiang, are you telling the truth?" Nye Yunxiang also looked into Wen Rumian's eyes, saying honestly, "Of course it is true. I won't continue to hide the true feelings I have for you anymore." Tears of happiness welled up from the corner of her eyes, when Rumian said softly, "Hick, okay," she hugged him tightly, "I agree." Chen Feng suddenly walked in, scratching his cheek embarrassedly, that. He looked at the scene in front of him, his expression a little teasing, "Sorry to bother you too, I saw the thermos was out of water, wanted to get some water." When Rumian saw Chen Feng, hurriedly pushed Yunxiang in her arms away, She was embarrassed, taking the water bottle, still stiffly saying, "I will go get it." Chen Feng changed the object of teasing, "Boss Nya, did not you say you only treated her as a younger sister?" He was provoked to the point of embarrassment, scolding helplessly, "Shut up." He clicked his tongue, still flirtatiously, "TSK, looking at your spirit, the recovery is not bad." After a while, Chen Feng changed his expression, seriously saying, "Boss Nya, should we talk about serious matters?" Yunxiang's face also changed, "I was also wanting to find you to talk about it, sit down, let us talk slowly." Chen Feng's voice rang out evenly, "I know, Boss Nya, there are many suspicious points about the failure in this action." He replied, "That is right, our plan was very secret, but the other party seemed to always be able to predict our every step." He sat next to the hospital bed, voicing his guess himself. "This is what I am worried about, there is a possibility that someone within us leaked the news." Yunxiang averted his eyes, seeming to agree, "If there really is a spy, we must quickly find them." Chen Feng had worked with him for so long, naturally understanding the hidden meaning. He replied, "I understand, I will definitely find that person." When Rumian returned just in time for Chen Feng to leave, he also said enthusiastically, "Goodbye sister-in-law." She looked at Chen Feng's childish teasing, not replying. Waiting for him to disappear, when Rumian just put the water bottle on the table and asked, "What were you two talking about?" Yunxiang vaguely replied, "Nothing. He went to do some things, you do not need to worry." The weather gradually got better, a long time had passed. When Rumian was very happy while folding the quilt, announcing the good news to Nya Yunxiang, "You are recovering very quickly, the doctor said we can prepare to be discharged from the hospital." Suddenly, her wrist was grabbed by another hand. He pulled her closer, saying sincerely, "It is all because you have taken such good care of me." The two completed the discharge procedures, holding hands and going outside. Nya Yunxiang was like a child, excited, "The air outside is so good." He suggested, "Go, let us go back to Buyichang." The car drove to the gate, there were two bodyguards standing ready, tasked with opening the gate and receiving the two. The staff inside saw the two, calling out happily, "Boss Nya." Everyone happily surrounded him and her, constantly congratulating, "Welcome you back, you two are finally safe and sound, that is really great." Yunxiang also politely said a few words. It has been hard on everyone during this time. When Rumian stepped forward, taking Ruashi's hand and saying, "Sister Ruashi, I was just about to go find you, our Christmas event at Buyichang can organize a special activity." She asked in return, also teasing, "What activity? You are really a good employee of Boss Nya, you want to discuss work with me before even putting away your suitcase." He stood on the side looking at the two women chatting together non-stop, a little unhappy. Suddenly, Nya Yunxiang cried out, "Ouch," when Rumian was pulled back by the sudden sound, immediately turning her head to check. She hurriedly supported him, "What is wrong? Do you need to go see a doctor?" Nya Yunxiang frowned, "My arm suddenly hurts a bit, help me." Ruashi, standing on the side, had already seen through everything. She snickered, "Pfft, Boss Nya, your body is healthier than the fitness coach in our place, why are you so weak in front of Rumian?" When Rumian was still worried, "No, it is best to go see a doctor, no need," he made an excuse to escape. In fact, he was not in much pain. She was flustered by Nya Yunxiang's attitude. Scolding, "Nya Yunxiang, why are you so childish? At the Christmas event, I plan to invite Lu Zhe's daughter, so I need to discuss it with Sister Ruashi." Then without another word, she pushed him towards Chen Feng, ordering, "Chen Feng, you take him inside to rest." When Rumian turned her head, attentively discussing with Ruashi, "Sister Ruashi, I plan to organize an activity called Beat When Covering Eyes." Nya Yunxiang looked at her back. Smiling softly, "The rose that I nurtured, has become both beautiful and capable." Chen Feng felt a chill run down his spine, wrinkling his face and complaining, "Ugh, Boss Nya, you are so cheesy." Ruashi and when Rumian went to another restroom, she took out 2 glasses of water. She was still talking non-stop, "I want to let the participants choose someone they feel interested in through their heart rate in a situation where they do not know the other party's identity. At that time I will arrange for a man to go seduce Lu Jiu." Ruashi seemed to agree. "We need to start preparing the invitation cards, and also ensure that the arrangement there is both romantic and mysterious." The two women discussed in detail. She suggested, "We can release some mysterious advertisements on social media, so that everyone looks forward to this activity." When Rumian also replied, "That is right, we can also invite some celebrities to participate, at that time Lu Jiu will definitely be interested." Ruashi pursed her lips, agreeing, "This is a good idea, we can arrange some unexpected things in the activity so that she unknowingly falls into the trap." The two finished discussing, sitting back together, she suddenly asked, after finishing talking about work, "Should we talk about things related to you and Nya Yunxiang?" She was surprised, asking back, "How did you know?" Ruashi felt insulted, frowning and saying, "Please, the two of you just walked in." That affectionate gaze, anyone with a little sense can see it, when Rumian was also helpless. "Okay." She leaned on her shoulder, expressing, "But in my heart, there is still a little worry." Ruashi asked, "Is it because Boss Nya rejected you before?" She also honestly replied, "Yeah, I just feel that he is expressing his feelings to me because he is grateful to me for saving him." She wrapped her arm around, touching the butterfly hairpin on her head. Ruashi's eyes were sincere. She instructed, "Xiao Mian, Boss Nya can support such a big Bi Chang alone. His background is definitely not simple, but none of us know his past. You better not get too deep in love." When Rumian closed her eyes, struggling to say the words that she herself had to understand, "I understand what you mean." When Rumian wrung her hands on her forehead, depressed, "But I can't control my feelings." Ruashi was a person who had been around for a long time, with a wealth of romantic experience. She gave Rumian away, then put the focus on the work at hand. "Whether Boss Nya is sincere or false, time will prove everything," the staff member announced. "Boss Wen, everything has been prepared according to your instructions." She stood up, shaking hands with Ruashi. "You are right, beautiful women must seriously build their careers first. Go, let us go see the results of their preparations." The poster was released, a beautiful girl with her eyes covered standing in the middle of the screen, beat when covering eyes. The other guests were similar, they used black cloth to cover their eyes, to match the name of the event, beat when covering eyes. The girls gathered together. Talking, "This year's Christmas, I want to go to Bi Chang to play." Lu Jiyu held a business card in her hand, clearly printed with the words, Bi Chang. She kissed the business card, happily choosing clothes. "That is great, even if my dad does not give me pocket money, having a rich sister can also help me fly up. I must be the most prominent." Lu Jiyu wore high heels. Lu Zhe saw her going out so late, asking with concern, "It is so late, you are dressed like this, where do you want to go?" Lu Jiyu said stubbornly, "Dad, I have a gathering with friends." He saw this and raised his voice, scolding, "You girls, do not run outside at night, that is not good for your reputation." She raised her face, arguing uncomfortably, "Dad, I am not a child anymore, I know what I am doing." Saying that, she brushed past Lu Zhe, leaving behind a cold sentence, "I am going to be late, I am leaving." He clenched his hands, saying coldly, "You be honest and stay put for the next 2 days for me. In a few days I will take you to meet suitable candidates, they are all prominent figures." Lu Jiyu was struck by a thunderbolt, her whole body was cold. Lu Jiyu recalled the words when Rumian had said, "Do you know why I do not contact my family? Because they want to turn me into a pawn, used for business alliances." The fear made her resist, "I am not going." Li Yu came over, taking Lu Zhe's arm. "You finally need to mention Jiyu's marriage. Which young master's family is it?" Lu Jiyu saw that her mother was not taking her side. Even angrier, "Mom, do not listen to Dad, I do not want to go on a blind date." Lu Zhe, rejected by his daughter, his anger soared, he shouted loudly, "I am your father, everything I do is for your own good, you have to listen to me." Li Yu, standing next to him, also chimed in. She echoed, "Jiyu, the people your dad knows all have status, this is your opportunity." But Lu Jiyu was not a fool, she seriously said back, "Dad, I do not understand, why can't I come to our company to work, but have to listen to you and go on a blind date?" Lu Zhe coldly spoke the harsh words, "A daughter like you, the things at the company are not something you should worry about." She seemed to hear a joke, becoming even more annoyed at her father's sexism. "Why should not daughters worry? What era is it already? You are still sexist." He was scolded in the face by his daughter, his eyes gradually darkened. "What did you say?" Lu Zhe did not say another word, directly slapping Lu Jiyu painfully. He said loudly, "Enough, Jiyu, I do not want to hear these unreasonable words. I am your father, I do not allow you to challenge my authority, you are forced to obey my arrangements." She hugged her face, stunned and speechless. "Dad, you hit me." Li Yu, afraid of offending Lu Zhe, hurriedly coaxed her daughter, "Good daughter, do not be angry with your dad anymore." Lu Jiyu tightened her bag straps, stubbornly arguing back. "I am not, it is all Dad who is targeting me." She turned and left. "I am going first, the matter of marriage will be discussed later." He was provoked to anger, scolding, "This unfilial daughter has disappointed me too much." Lu Zhe pointed, scolding Lu Jiyu's mother as well, "Look at the daughter you taught, there is no sense of propriety at all." Li Yu tried to speak up for her daughter. "Jiyu is still young, she does not understand things yet, I will persuade her when she comes back." He took the opportunity to press forward, his words becoming even more sharp and harsh. "How old is she and she does not understand things, she is like this all because you spoiled her. I originally thought you could give birth to a son for me, that is why I brought you home, you are so useless." She was stunned by the scolding, only able to stammer, "You." Lu Zhe turned and left, coldly mocking, "Husband and wife for so many years, do not put on an act in front of me." Li Yu was choked by him, clearly unable to say anything more. Bi Chang. Lu Jiyu stood in the 2 long lines of customers outside Bi Chang, thinking excitedly, "This is Bi Chang, it really lives up to its reputation." The invited guests successively presented their business cards, she also stepped forward, presenting her business card. Lu Jiyu was even more stunned as she stepped inside. Inside, people were happily dancing and chatting, the atmosphere was extremely lively and relaxed. When Rumian was standing greeting guests, someone praised, Sister Wen, there are new surprises every time I come, Sister Wen is too awesome, she smiled politely and replied. Thank you for coming, RB Chang's tenet is to provide the best service to you all. When Rumian averted her eyes, seeing her standing at the door and greeting, Jiu, you have arrived. Lu Jiu greeted her effusively, praising her unreservedly, Sister Wen, you are too amazing, is such a big Bi Chang all managed by you, she said modestly. What is so amazing, I am just working for the boss. When Rumian let her in, introducing, this side is our VIP area, that side is the dance floor, if you like peace and quiet, there is a rest area upstairs, Lu Jiu was very interested. This place is really too great, I have already started looking forward to tonight's activity. She leaned close to her ear, whispering, there are many handsome guys and male models today, later when the lights go out, you can grab a guy you like, Lu Jiu also was not polite. Then I have to take my time choosing later. When Rumian also affirmed, I have arranged a spot for you in the rest area upstairs, you go rest for a while, I will call you later when the activity starts, she also happily replied, okay. Suddenly, a voice rang out from outside the door, a young man was being dragged inside, strenuously objecting, hey, I have been doing surgery all day, I am so tired. Why are you still dragging me here? The person dragging the young man pointed inside, introducing, it is precisely because you are tired that you need to come here to relax, the person being dragged was Guzepping. He said with a little repulsion, you guys play, I really. Suddenly, Guzepping's gaze stopped on Wen Rumian not far away, he thought, that is. Seeing the face of the person coming over clearly, it was none other than Wen Rumian. He was stunned, it is her. Guzepping ignored his friend, stepping forward to greet her, Ms. When, we meet again, Wen Rumian, seeing that it was him, exclaimed, Aya. The joy of meeting an acquaintance made them more open. Dr. Gu, what a coincidence, why are you here? He replied casually, my colleague and I came here to relax. The other person rubbed their chin, racking their brains. Dr. Gu is usually so cold and disinterested in anyone. Has the sun risen in the west that he is actively starting a conversation with a girl? Seeing the scene, the other two guests exchanged glances and whispered. One said, that girl is not simple. She is the manager of Bai Chang. The other replied, what ability does she have that could make Dr. Gu act like that? When Rumian gently asked, Dr. Gu, why did you come here? Last time I went for a checkup, you seemed very busy. Gu Xiaoting did not deny it. Indeed, I am very busy, but I need to relax sometimes. Suddenly, a drunk guest stumbled over, still smiling dreamily, haha, and bumped into her shoulder. When Rumian cried out in pain, Then he staggered unsteadily and fell forward, oh. Gu Xiaoting quickly supported her. He reminded, careful. Gu Xiaoting asked with concern, are you alright? When Rumian stepped back, steadied herself, and replied, I am fine, thank you. But they did not know that their actions had been observed by someone. From the very beginning. Nie Yinxiang coldly asked Chen Feng, who is that man? He was caught off guard by the question and replied awkwardly, I do not know, CEO Nye. Gu Xiaoting continued walking with Wen Rumian. He inquired, Miss Wen, is Bai Cheng always this lively? She generously and sincerely explained, of course. We strive to provide the best experience for every customer. However, during festivals and special events, the atmosphere is even more lively. On the stage, the band was performing energetically. When Rumian said, moreover, today we also have our Christmas blind date event, which is very popular online. Gu Xiaoting asked, a blind date? She was about to say something. Yes, it is. Suddenly someone interrupted, Manager Wen. Chen Feng approached, waving his hand to signal. CEO Nye wants you in the office. When Rumian replied with slight doubt, okay, I will be right there. She turned her head and politely said, sorry, Dr. Gu, I have to leave first. You and your colleagues enjoy yourselves. I will give you a discount next time. Gu Xiaoting replied understandingly, it is alright, go ahead. When Rumian left, and he continued to watch her back, saying nothing. Gu Xiaoting went to the bar, and his friends immediately crowded around to tease him. Our cold male god actually took the initiative to talk to the manager of Bai Chang. He rolled his eyes. Don't overthink it. We just had a simple conversation. His friend continued to tease, oh, really? When Rumian knocked on the door twice. There was no response, making her suspicious. Is anyone there? Suddenly, the door opened a crack. A hand reached out and pulled her in. When Rumian was caught off guard and cried out, ah. She was pinned against the door, her back against it, and the person braced their hand above her head. Nie Yinxiang smirked self-deprecatingly, you can always attract everyone's attention. When Rumian was stunned. Attract who? Are you talking about Dr. Gu? He stroked her hair and said coldly, I do not care who he is. Tell me, who else, friends that I do not know about. When Rumian widened her eyes, feigning innocence. Dr. Gu and I accidentally met before. We are not really friends, and we have only met twice. Nie Yinxiang rested his chin on her shoulder, burying his face in the hollow of her neck and sniffing. Then he commanded, anyway, I do not like other men getting close to you. When Rumian glanced sideways. Nie Yinxiang, are you jealous? He cupped her face and said blindly, so what if I am, you are mine. Wen Rumian's face flushed red from Nie Yinxiang's domineering words, and she could not say anything for a long time. Finally, she flusteredly pushed him away. Of course. Here, I am your employee. She turned away, leaving him with one sentence. The event is about to start, I have to go. Then she closed the door with a bang, leaving Nie Yinxiang still stunned and speechless. Event venue. Wen Rumian pointed to the pile of masks on the table and said, go, distribute these to the guests. She asked, Sister Ruashi, is everything arranged? Ruashi turned her head and replied, don't worry, Wen Rumian. I have found a perfect candidate. She snapped her fingers. Come out. A young man with dyed blonde hair and a gentle face stepped out. His voice was clear. Miss Wen Rumian, I understand my mission. I will try my best to complete it. Wen Rumian was very satisfied and praised, very good. Your appearance and demeanor both fit the requirements. I believe Lu Jiyu will be interested in you. Then she stepped forward and instructed, go prepare a little. Later, invite Lu Jiyu to dance. Ruashi crossed her arms. The restaurant that Lu Zhe invested in lost a lot of money due to the food poisoning incident. Now he must be in a hurry to arrange for his daughter to go on blind dates to promote investment cooperation. She replied, I won't let Lu Zhe's plan succeed. It is time to give him a surprise. Melodious music played, and Ruashi's voice echoed in the space. In this darkness filled with mystery, Bai Cheng's blind date event is about to begin. She introduced the rules. Everyone under the mask is looking forward to a heart-fluttering encounter. Remember, in 3 minutes, when the music stops, we will turn off the lights for 30 seconds. Everyone can kiss their dance partner. The guests quickly paired up with each other. Lu Jiyu also received a mask. When Rumian said, go ahead. You might meet a good guy. Waiting for her to put on the mask, she took her hand and walked around the hall. Lu Jiyu was a little worried. Sister Mian, let us play together. I am a little shy on my own. When Rumian immediately and skillfully refused. But now I have to be in charge of the organization of the event. She suggested, or I can help you find a dance partner. When Rumian looked around, feeling troubled. I should not participate in this game. I have to find an excuse to leave. Suddenly, a clear voice rang out, Miss. Lu Jiyu turned her head, not noticing the smug smile on Wen Rumian's lips. The arranged young man extended his hand and said politely, may I have this dance? She was stunned. Oh. She pushed Lu Jiyu from behind and encouraged, go quickly. When Rumian quietly observed from afar, slowly curling her lips into a smile. It seems the plan is proceeding smoothly. I have to let him know that the daughter of a mistress is also easily controlled. Suddenly, all the lights went out, and everyone looked around in an uproar. She held a microphone and stood on the stage, announcing, ladies and gentlemen, the most exciting moment is about to happen. Please prepare to enjoy tonight's kiss with your dance partner. Lu Jiyu's hand slipped from her dance partner, and she exclaimed in surprise. Fortunately, another hand caught her hand. Lu Jiyu stared at his hand in shock, not blinking an eye. Lu Jiyu could not help but feel doubtful. He is. At that moment, Gu Xiaoping whispered in her ear, don't move, hold on to me. This made Lu Jiyu's heart flutter even more. He is not kissing me. She stood gossiping on the side, lonely and surrounded by couples. Suddenly, an arm reached out, grabbed Wen Rumian's shoulder, and pulled her towards him. She was suddenly attacked, and unconsciously gasped and looked up at the other person. Nie Yinxiang directly seized her lips, giving Wen Rumian a passionate kiss. Her face flushed red with embarrassment, and she murmured, Nie Yinxiang. Her eyes closed slightly, gradually becoming fascinated and drawn into Nie Yinxiang's rhythm. She followed Nie Yinxiang's lead, reaching out and placing her hand behind his neck. As soon as their lips and tongues separated, they breathed heavily, making a heavy sound. When Rumian shyly looked into his eyes. Nie Yinxiang, you. Nie Yinxiang tenderly stroked her face, expressing his feelings, I have been waiting for this moment for a long time, Mian Mian. When Rumian was stunned when she heard this, her eyes widened in disbelief. He reluctantly let go of Wen Rumian's hand, slowly widening the distance between them. She bashfully touched her lips, recalling the feeling from before. At this moment, all the lights suddenly turned on. Chen Ruashi then announced, 3 minutes are up. In this game, everyone is looking for a heart-fluttering feeling. A kiss under the mask may just be part of the game, but for some people, it may be the beginning of love. She slowly removed her mask. Gu Xiaoping saw her face and exclaimed in surprise, why is it you? Lu Jiyu stared blankly at him, unblinking. Gu Xiaoping quickly let go of her hand and apologized in a flustered manner, sorry, I thought you were. Lu Jiyu was mesmerized, praising in her heart, what a polite man. He must think that kissing on the first meeting is very impolite, so he does not want to take advantage of the game to take advantage of me. He explained awkwardly, miss, this is just a misunderstanding. I thought. Lu Jiyu immediately persuaded, it is okay. This kind of game is always full of surprises. She saw the figures of the two people standing side by side from a distance and thought, this is not good, the plan has gone wrong. Suddenly, someone called out, Dr. Gu, we have to go. Gu Xiaoping turned his head and replied, I am coming. Before leaving, he did not forget to say goodbye. My friend is calling me, please excuse me. Lu Jiyu's face was flushed, and she shyly said to her, Sister Mian, who is this handsome guy? Is he your friend? He is much more handsome than the guy who danced with me. When Rumian raised the glass of wine in her hand and replied slowly, Are you talking about Dr. Gu? He is a guest of our Bai Chang. Lu Jiyu was stunned and muttered to herself, Dr. Gu. She watched silently without a sound. When Rumian carefully considered it. Although the plan has failed, why not go with the flow and match Gu Xiaoping and Lu Jiyu? Wouldn't that also ruin Lu Zhe's plan? He was adjusting his clothes when he suddenly heard Wen Rumian calling him, Dr. Gu. She stepped forward to chat with Gu Xiaoping. Are you and your colleagues preparing to leave? He replied upon hearing this, Yes, it is getting late. We have to go back and rest. When Rumian winked and said seductively, I think you and Miss Lu had a lot of fun today. Would you like her contact information? He directly waved his hand and refused, Thank you, Miss Wen, but I do not have a good impression of Miss Lu. When Rumian clasped her hands behind her back, trying to persuade him. It does not matter if you do not have a good impression. You can make friends first. What is wrong with having another friend? At this point, Gu Xiaoping also agreed. What you said is also right. He smiled and suggested an idea. Then I will become friends with Miss Wen first, and then you can send her a referral link. When Rumian excitedly agreed, okay. A young man raised a glass of wine and invited, Beautiful lady, alone, let me buy you a drink. Lu Jiyu glanced to the side upon hearing this. Thank you. She sipped the wine in her hand and secretly complained, This wine is too strong, it is not good. Lu Jiyu stood up, found an excuse to leave, Thank you for the wine, I have something to do, please excuse me first. The man at this time raised his hand to try to hold back. Are you leaving already, or should I buy you another drink? Lu Jiyu quickly continued, Thank you, but I am really not interested in drinking. He was so ashamed that he became angry, raising his voice and scolding, What do you mean? I have offered you a drink, and you still have this attitude, Lu Jiyu retorted sharply. I did not ask you to offer me a drink. You volunteered. The man's face darkened, and he gritted his teeth and spat out, What did you say? Then he slapped Lu Jiyu straight in the face, causing her to turn to one side with the force of the slap. He also loudly cursed, You stinky woman, you really do not know what is good for you. Lu Jiyu was trembling with anger, clutching her slapped cheek. You dare to hit me? She directly grabbed the hair on the man's head. Lu Jiyu yanked his hair hard, pulling him towards her. Who do you think you are? The man was caught off guard by the counterattack and staggered, unable to stand firmly. Lu Jiyu took advantage of the situation to push him to the ground, still not letting go of his hair. What are you? Gu Xiaoping asked in confusion, What happened? She assessed the situation and worried endlessly, Oh no, she is being bullied. The man was in so much pain that he was sweating all over his face and shouted in fear, Don't pull anymore, I am going bald. Seeing that the situation was not good, when Rumian shouted loudly to persuade, Jiyu, stop. A hand unexpectedly grabbed her arm, pulling her back. Lu Jiyu was shocked when she saw who was pulling her, Is it the two of you? She immediately stood up, shyly climbing off the man, I just wanted to teach him a lesson, he attacked first. When Rumian gently tucked her hair behind her ear, softly comforting, It is okay, this kind of person is not worth your time. Then she turned to look at Gu Xiaoping and suggested, Dr. Gu, could you trouble you to take Miss Lu home? I feel that her condition is not very good right now. He agreed readily, Of course, I will take her home safely. Lu Jiyu's face was red with embarrassment, and she awkwardly explained, Dr. Gu, I am not usually so fierce. He took off his coat and draped it over Lu Jiyu. Miss Lu, it is not wrong to protect yourself. You do not need to feel ashamed. She was moved beyond words upon hearing this, and softly thanked, Thank you, Dr. Gu. When Rumian was silent, watching the two people leave from afar, she secretly approached, crossing her arms and lamenting, I did not expect that after I saw that the plan had failed, I arranged for Xiaonan to tease Lu Jiyu. Wanting to have someone play the hero to save the beauty, but she is quite brave. When Rumian then continued, I also did not expect. Chen Ruoshi put her hand on her chin, smiling and sighing, but luckily, I have gained her trust. Chen Ruoshi turned her head to look at her. That is right, now it seems that Lu Jiyu has completely let her guard down against you. She suddenly remembered the appointment and quickly announced, That is right, Boss Nia said he will come to pick you up tomorrow morning to go out. When Rumian teased immediately upon hearing this, What, I have never seen him go out to play, has the sun risen in the west? She smoothed her hair, taking the opportunity to tease when Rumian, he must have seen Dr. Gu today, felt a sense of crisis, and wants to have a sense of existence in front of his lovely girlfriend. She quickly retorted, What nonsense are you talking about? When Rumian straightened her face and declared solemnly, I am not some lovely girl, I am the queen of Bai Chang. She was hit but still smiled happily, Okay, I wish you and the king a happy outing tomorrow. Nia Yinxiang lowered his eyes, his head in a confused state of thinking. The phone screen in his hand displayed dating strategies. Nia Yinxiang cautiously selected based on the article, watching movies, going to restaurants, this is not too novel, going to the zoo, going to the amusement park, is this for children, got it. The lotus flower vase was exquisitely arranged, just like his intention at this moment, Hello, I would like to make a reservation for tomorrow morning, yes, for 2 people. The next day, when Rumian carefully selected her clothes, today must be a romantic date, I have to choose the most beautiful dress. Her mood was even more cheerful when she chose her favorite lipstick color. When Rumian wore a sparkling necklace, highlighting her slender collarbones. She put on her elegant blue dress, satisfied to admire the results, perfect. Nye Yunxiang leaned handsomely against the car. He suddenly startled when he heard Rumian's voice, Yunxiang. She waved happily and greeted, have you been waiting long? Nye Yunxiang was absent-minded for a while, then called out softly, Mian Mian. He asked awkwardly again, are you wearing that today? When Rumian could not help but feel embarrassed upon hearing this. What is wrong, is it not beautiful? Nye Yunxiang scratched his face in confusion, explaining, no, I just did not expect you to dress so formally, let us change into another set when we get there. She felt curious, change clothes, where are we going? Nye Yunxiang mysteriously said, you will know later. When Rumian stared blankly at the sign, silent. She immediately raised her eyebrows and turned around to ask directly, you want to take me here? Nye Yunxiang slowly introduced, yes, this is a place I carefully selected for a long time. While he was rambling on ahead, let us go, I will take you to change clothes. When Rumian stood rooted to the spot, not taking a step. What kind of weird date is this? Nye Yunxiang received her blow, and seriously corrected, this action must pay attention to force. After feeling it, he evaluated, yes, that is it, maintain balance. When Rumian quickly continued, as soon as she spoke, is this right, she punched Nye Yunxiang hard in the chin. She anxiously covered her mouth and asked with concern, sorry, I did not mean to. Nye Yunxiang's body trembled continuously, falling into silence. He then changed the subject, breaking the awkwardness of the moment, it seems I have to be careful, I can't underestimate you. When Rumian winked playfully, raising her hand to affirm, I am not easy to mess with, Nye Yunxiang, an hour later. He considerately wiped the sweat for when Rumian, are you tired? She responded upon hearing this, still okay. Before drinking water, when Rumian shyly expressed, although this is not the date I imagined, I really enjoy the feeling of sweating. He was moved beyond words, taking the opportunity to express his feelings, me too, I am very happy to be able to do these things with you. Nye Yunxiang scratched his head, explaining embarrassedly, I do not know what kind of dates girls like, the places I usually go are either by Chang or Fengji Gym. I do not know where to take you. She obediently continued, it is okay, the gym is also quite interesting. When Rumian's face suddenly lit up even more, however, I do have a place I want to go with you. Before the open space of the music stage, crowds waved lights and gathered to watch the performance. She took Nye Yunxiang's arm, excitedly introducing, I always wanted to participate in this music festival, the folk music festival here is different from the lights of Baicheng. After the performance, the singer thanked the audience, thank you everyone. Her eyes sparkled like stars, enthusiastically shouting, this song is so good. A few seconds later, the host then announced, next, we will select 3 lucky fans from the big screen to sing this song with us. As soon as the screen scrolled to Nye Yunxiang, the host called out, stop. When Rumian inevitably felt happy for him, when she heard the following words, congratulations to this music fan. She hurriedly pushed Nye Yunxiang forward, go quickly, this is an opportunity that fans can't get even if they spend money. He turned his head to look back, stunned and unable to object. Nye Yunxiang slowly stepped up the stairs, approaching the stage. He stood mechanically like a statue, lamenting in his heart, this is even more difficult than fighting. The host smiled broadly, bringing the microphone closer for an interview. Handsome guy, are you here alone? Hearing this, Nye Yunxiang's face finally relaxed, no, I came with my girlfriend. The crowd, knowing the story, curiously discussed, sure enough, handsome guys are all taken, who is the lucky sister? He took the guitar and announced to everyone, I want to sing this song for a special person, she is everything to me. Nye Yunxiang's slender fingers elegantly glided over the guitar strings. His singing voice was melodious, each word and each phrase was deeply sent to one Rumian, under the sparkling starry sky, I found your eyes. She was shy and blushing at the surprise, he knows how to play the guitar. Nye Yunxiang was handsome and suave, singing in a deep voice, finally, I found my destination. She could not help but feel moved, her eyes gently looking towards the stage, your smile is the warmest light in my heart. Before his singing, Nye Yunxiang gradually teared up, in the prosperity of the sleepless city of Baicheng, you are my only desire, Nye Yunxiang. He shone on the stage, but in his eyes there was only one Rumian, we have gone through many things together, and you have become an indispensable part of my life. The audience clapped repeatedly, sparing no praise, singing is so good. In the moment that Nye Yunxiang jumped off the stage, the crowd excitedly shouted. He was blocked by the crowd, only knowing to reach out helplessly, Romian. When Rumian was surrounded by the crowd, anxiously calling his name, Nye Yunxiang. She struggled in the crowd, trying hard to climb up to announce, here. When Rumian was unexpectedly bumped into, painfully groaning. At that moment, a strong hand grabbed her hand. When Rumian's body quickly fell into his warm embrace. Nye Yunxiang hugged her tightly, muttering softly, found you. When Rumian could not help but reach out and hug his shoulder, thank you, this is the best song I have ever heard. Her voice could not hide her surprise. I also did not know you sang so well. Nye Yinxiang replied upon hearing this, no one knows that I like to sing. Suddenly fireworks were set off, exploding into beautiful images in the night sky. When Rumian looked up and saw the scene, immediately praising, so beautiful. He steadily hugged her slender shoulders, softly caring, Mian, you must remember, no matter what, I will be by your side. As for Luze's matter, if you can't handle it, you must tell me, I will help you solve it. When Rumian put her hand on his chest, slowly agreeing, okay. When Rumian took the initiative to hug him, touched, Yinxiang, I hope our love can be like these fireworks, even if it is short, it will be brilliantly radiant. Nye Yinxiang gently stroked her hair, chiding her lovingly, silly girl. Nye Yinxiang gently placed a kiss on her forehead, our love will not be short. The two intertwined their fingers, standing together under the starry sky, it will be like this starry sky, stretching for thousands of miles. In the darkness of the night, the city still shone with lights, the city that never sleeps. The secretary stood beside him obsequiously, anxiously reporting, Boss Liu, these failed investments have caused serious losses to the company, forcing us to find new sources of investment. Otherwise, our capital will be difficult to maintain the company's operation. Lu Zhe propped his hand on the table, carefully considering the plan. Tomorrow is Boss Chen's birthday from Dingfeng Group. This is an opportunity. You go and prepare a gift for Boss Chen for me. The secretary immediately followed the instructions, yes. At a luxurious party, Boss Chen was chatting happily with the girl beside him. Suddenly his face changed, and he turned to the side and questioned, Lu Zhe, what are you doing here? Lu Zhe raised the gift bag in his hand, Boss Chen, although I did not receive an invitation, I heard that today is your birthday, so I came to congratulate you despite my lack of invitation. He reluctantly accepted upon hearing this, then thank you. Lu Zhe was still unwilling to leave, raising his glass as if casually mentioning, Boss Chen, I am looking for new investment opportunities recently, I wonder if you could give me some advice. He looked displeased, refusing to give him any face. Lu Zhe, today is my birthday party, are you sure you want to talk to me about this? He remained silent, quietly observing Boss Chen chatting with others. Lu Zhe waited until he was about to leave, and then stopped him, Boss Chen, please wait. Lu Zhe held out the paper in his hand, suggesting in a low voice, please take a look at my company's report, this investment is very important to me. He did not care much, flatly refusing, I said I do not want to talk about this today. But Lu Zhe continued to pester him, recounting his situation, Boss Chen, I understand your mood, but my company is having some difficulties and needs your help. Boss Chen's eyebrows gradually furrowed, only carefully observing him without saying a word. Then Boss Chen spoke slowly, introducing, Lu Zhe, if I remember correctly, you have your own transportation company, right, then when importing and exporting goods. You can secretly transport some prohibited products. He was stunned as if he could not believe his ears. What did you say? Boss Chen quickly closed the distance, whispering a tip, I know it sounds a bit risky, but the profits are very considerable. This capital is not just a life-saving straw for you. Lu Zhe fell into a dilemma upon hearing this, unable to make a decision, but, this, is too dangerous. He put on a very confident expression, casually making a promise, how can you make a lot of money without taking risks? Don't worry, I can guarantee that all stages will be error-free. Lu Zhe was now struggling to make a choice, and remained silent for a moment. After a moment of consideration, he reached out and took Boss Chen's hand, okay, then we agree to cooperate with your company. He excitedly assured, Lu Zhe, if this cooperation is successful, we will all reap huge profits. He enthusiastically continued, thank you for your trust, Boss Chen, I will not let you down. Lu Zhe looked at the development of the stock, and said with satisfaction, very good. He carefully observed the report in his hand, and calmly ordered, cooperation with Boss Chen finally gives the company a chance to breathe. I heard that Boss Chen likes young girls, you go find me a few with good looks. The secretary lowered her voice to advise upon hearing this, Boss Liu, that is not very appropriate. Lu Zhe immediately shouted, what is with all the talking, just do what I tell you to do. The secretary lowered her head, feeling aggrieved, and resignedly obeyed, yes. While receiving the report, the secretary suddenly remembered, oh right, Boss Chen said he wanted to invite you to their private party this week. Lu Zhe could not help but feel uncomfortable in his heart. Why is it Bi Chang again? Last time I had an unpleasant dispute with manager Wen, I really do not want to go there again. However, he remembered, but Boss Chen is a gold mine that can bring me big deals, I can't afford to offend Boss Chen. Lu Zhe's eyes suddenly lit up, and he came up with an idea that could satisfy both sides, that is right, there is a way to both let Boss Chen have fun and fix that little bitch. Before, I asked you to investigate the identity of Bi Chang's manager Wen, did you find anything? The secretary quickly handed over the resume, it has been investigated. It is here. When Rumian's image suddenly appeared in the content on it, according to the investigation, when Rumian, at the age of Miss Wen Rumian, was living in an orphanage. Later, Nye Yinxiang took her away. She only has a similar appearance to the lost young mistress, and is probably not related. He stared at the content in his hand, probing, so, she and our family really have nothing to do with each other, just a similar appearance, the secretary quickly replied. That is right, Boss Lu, she is just an ordinary orphan. Lu Zhe's face darkened, and he muttered to himself gloomily, Wen Rumian, who are you after all? Why do I keep feeling so familiar with you? She focused on reading the documents at her desk. Unaware that Lu Zhe was plotting against her, however, she is just an orphan, so I do not need to worry anymore. Chen Ruoshi stood akimbo in front of her, happily announcing, we have already found a detective to prepare a fake identity for you and give it to Lu Zhe's secretary. Wen Rumian then smiled and continued, good, let us observe the situation. Lu Zhe led 3 girls, carefully looking around and evaluating, there are no cameras here. The bodyguard stood silently outside, observing every move of the group. Then the bodyguard hurriedly reported the situation to Wen Rumian, Manager Wen. Lu Zhe came for some reason, and also brought several girls. She lifted her hair to reveal the earpiece, and sternly issued instructions, don't chase them away for now, keep a close eye on them, I will take care of it. Boss Chen smiled broadly, reaching out to greet him, Boss Lu, you have finally arrived, please sit down. He immediately noticed the 3 girls behind Lu Zhe, look at you, coming is fine, but why bring so many beauties? He catered to his wishes, I know you like beauties. These people are all at the age of flowers and jade. Then Lu Zhe quickly pushed a girl into his arms, quickly go serve Boss Chen. Boss Chen laughed excitedly, praising without reservation, Lu Zhe, you are indeed a man who understands people's hearts. With 2 girls in his arms, he slowly offered a reward, Lu Zhe, you did very well the first time. In the future, your company can receive more transportation jobs. I will arrange someone to contact you. Lu Zhe quickly thanked him, thank you, Boss Chen, I will definitely not let you down. He smiled evilly, introducing in a loud voice, Boss Chen, I came this time with absolute sincerity. These girls were all carefully selected by me, you can play with them as you please. Boss Chen licked his lips, leering at the girl's body, you are really too thoughtful, then I won't be polite. He sat calmly opposite, witnessing the entire process of Boss Chen's actions. He pressed a girl's head on the chair, scolding loudly, drink wine, I told you to drink wine, why do not you drink? The girl moaned in pain. Suddenly the girl's eyes darkened, and she drowsily closed them. Boss Chen panicked when he saw her fainting. He was extremely flustered, turning to Lu Zhe for advice, now, what should I do now? He calmly raised his glass of wine, reassuring, you do not need to worry. I will handle this. You leave first, I will take care of everything. Boss Chen anxiously grabbed his coat, hurrying to escape, then I will go first, Boss Lu, you are great. He reached out, gently poking the shoulder of the unconscious girl. The girl's eyes gradually opened, and she sat up and whispered, Boss. Lu Zhe could not help but praise, great acting. He distributed money, paid the reward and did not forget to instruct, later when the police come, you say according to the previously arranged content. Okay, thank you, boss. Lu Zhe immediately made a phone call, reporting in a low voice to the other side, hello, police station, right, I want to accuse Bi Cheng of providing illegal services, yes, right now. Then he turned around again, anxiously instructing one more time, be sure to remember, today you are the wine girls that Bi Cheng arranged for the guests. The girls replied in unison, don't worry, we know what to say. Lu Zhe smiled darkly, happy that his plan was about to be achieved. Wen Rumian, let us see how you deal with this. Wen Rumian slowly walked over, probing the bodyguards, you guys guard outside, I will go in and see the situation. Just as she reached out to push the door open, a voice suddenly rang out, excuse me, are you Wen Rumian, the manager of this place? The policeman held out his professional license, and then announced, we are police officers from the police station on Bui Road. We just received a complaint saying that this place is providing illegal services. When Rumian did not understand what was going on for a moment, what? She tried to explain in a panic, comrade police officer, this is a misunderstanding, Bi Cheng has always operated legally. The policeman reached out in front of her, sternly requesting, if that is the case, then cooperate with our investigation. When Rumian was forced into a difficult position, and just then a voice suddenly rang out, comrade police officer, the evidence is right in front of your eyes. Lu Zhe strode forward aggressively, leading the girl who had acted just now, look at the wounds on the body of the wine girl that Bi Cheng arranged. She immediately sternly objected, you are talking nonsense, I have never even met these girls, Bi Cheng has never arranged such services. The policeman then advised, don't get excited, we will investigate clearly. One of the female police officers stepped forward, checking and evaluating the girl's wounds, there are indeed many wounds on her body. The policeman immediately made a request upon hearing this, where are your ID cards, we need to check your ages. The girls simultaneously took out their ID cards, solemnly handing them to the police, here. The police officer was immediately speechless, checking the ID cards of both of them, they are both minors. He carefully considered, then made a conclusion, Manager Wen, although it cannot be directly proven that they were arranged by you, but after all, the incident happened at your business. And this involves organizing minors to carry out illegal activities, this is a very serious crime, so we have no choice but to investigate this place. When Rumian could not help but get angry upon hearing this, trying to argue to clear her name, what, I said this was Lu Zhe framing us, these girls are not our people, they were arranged by him. He was named and then followed the previously prepared plan, asking the girls, "You keep saying that I arranged these girls to frame you," then ask them, "Hey, do you know me?" The girls gave the same answer without prior agreement, "We do not know you." When Rumian angrily exposed them directly, "You people are acting, you are all in cahoots." The policeman announced the order unhurriedly, "Manager Wen, no matter what, the wounds on these girls and their minor status make it impossible for us not to take action. In order to ensure the progress of the investigation, Bi Chang must suspend business for 2 months." When Rumian was anxious, arguing frantically with the other party, this is not fair, we are being wronged." Soon after, the police quickly sealed off the area where Bi Chang was operating. Lu Zhe smiled triumphantly, and sarcastically whispered, "When Rumian, it seems that your Bi Chang is really finished this time. I hope you can get through this 2-month suspension of business, but I do not think there is much hope." She angrily scolded, "Lu Zhe, you will pay the price." He was not afraid, and continued to despise When Rumian, "Pay the price, this was done by you, I am just reporting the truth. Bi Chang's reputation has never been good. This is a good opportunity for the police to deal with it." She flew into a rage, shouting and cursing at the other party, "You scum, shameless, cruel, you will not have a good ending." Before turning to leave, Lu Zhe did not forget to leave a sentence, "Retribution, I only believe in strength, When Rumian, I do not feel like we will have the chance to meet again." She was so provoked that she had no strength to argue anymore. When Rumian thought to herself, "Lu Zhe, I only hate that I do not have your blood flowing through my veins." Although Nie Yunxiang was walking on the street, his mind was elsewhere. Bi Chang actually has this blind spot in the camera. Suddenly he noticed something in front of him. At a store that was closed at this time, there was a surveillance camera in a hard-to-see location. A sign for a holiday was hung in front of the store, along with an emergency contact phone number, "Holiday, contact 1234567 if anything happens." Nie Yunxiang quickly dialed the phone number, calling the store owner, "Hello, is this Ning Cafe? Yesterday I lost a very expensive watch, can I see the camera in front of the store?" In front of a building was a sign, "Police Station, Bui Road." He held out the evidence in his hand, giving it to the police officer in front of him. "Officer, the image from the camera in the cafe opposite can prove that these girls avoided Bi Chang's camera." To enter. In the filmed footage, Lu Zhe led 3 girls in, but this can only prove that these girls are not official employees of your Bi Chang. The police officer carefully examined it, and after a while, he brought up the problem, but the safety management of Bi Chang still has loopholes, so the penalty of suspending business cannot be withdrawn. When Rumian was anxious, and upon hearing this, she retorted, we clearly proved that we did not violate the law, why do we still have to suspend business?" Nie Yunxiang pulled her arm to stop her, and turned to communicate with the police, "Okay, we will cooperate, but we also hope that the police cannot let these bad guys go." When Rumian followed him, walking out of the police station, Nie Yunxiang, I am sorry, it is all my fault, bringing trouble to Bi Chang." Looking at her face, which was so aggrieved that she wanted to cry, Nie Yunxiang softly comforted, "This is not your fault." He slowly expressed, "It has nothing to do with you, Bi Chang indeed has loopholes, it is good to discover them early." Lu Yuning could not help but worry for him, but those 2 months, how much will Bi Chang lose? Nie Yunxiang's eyes softened, calmly reassuring her mood, "The reason why I initially handed Bi Chang over to you to manage was because I trusted your ability. So even if you encounter such and such problems along the way, I also believe that you have the ability to solve them." When Rumian was endlessly touched, whispering softly, "Yunxiang." He raised his eyebrows, declaring triumphantly, "What does one Bi Chang count for? I want to give you 100 times as much." When Rumian patted him on the shoulder with a clear sound, and chuckled, "I know you are rich, but I am also wholeheartedly for Bi Chang." In front of When Rumian's office, she worriedly read each line of the form in her hand in detail, a repair notice. As she read, When Rumian thought to herself, so it will take 2 months to repair. She reached out, grabbing the phone on the table. Lu Jiyu was resting with a face mask on, suddenly hearing the phone ringing. After answering the phone, she immediately opened her mouth first, "Sister Wen, what is the matter?" When Rumian slowly made an invitation, "Xiaoyu, do you want to go see an exhibition together?" She quickly agreed, "Sister Wen, okay, I am about to get moldy at home." At the front of the exhibition. While the two were observing the exhibits, when Rumian suddenly probed, "You look like you have been doing well recently, your dad is not cutting your allowance anymore." "Is he?" She innocently betrayed Lu Zhe directly, "My dad has indeed been a little generous recently, my dad has a pretty good business deal, it seems to be something about sea transportation." She put on a surprised look, deepening her probing, "Doing international trade, then you must have a lot of strength." Lu Jiyu turned her face in another direction, uninterested and replied perfunctorily, "Who knows, I just need someone to give me money to spend." She gathered that much information, and then carefully considered, Lu Zhe also used to do international trade, but there has been a sudden change like this, there must be a problem in this. A tall apartment building, with a few lights faintly shining from the room, Nie Yunxiang's apartment. When Rumian propped her hand on her face, reporting dejectedly, "Lu Zhe's international business has been doing very well recently, but we all know it is a big playground. There is no way he can suddenly import so much goods, there must be a reason behind this. He immediately understood upon hearing this, unless they are dealing with abnormal goods. When Rumian also had the same idea as him, now seriously thinking, I also feel that way, his wharf only has a few containers, there is no way so much money can suddenly come in, what could it be? Immediately, Nye Yunxiang suddenly remembered a problem. Before, he came to Yichang to attend Boss Chen's party. What is the background of that Boss Chen? She replied upon hearing this, that person does everything, anything that makes money, so it could be. Nye Yunxiang, after a period of thought, came to a conclusion, smuggling illegal goods. Lu Zhe's company is heavily in debt, it is very likely that he took the risk of doing this. She could not sit still anymore, and quickly proposed, no, I have to go investigate. When Rumian turned to look at him, expressing, I am very familiar with his wharf, I have to go see it. Nye Yunxiang could not help but feel worried, now, it is too dangerous for you to go alone. She immediately reassured, it is okay, I have always been paying attention these years, after all, international trade is an industry that my grandfather left behind. Nye Yunxiang looked at her for a long time, not uttering any sound. When Rumian gave in and hugged him, making him change his mind, then I will go with you. Thank you. The next day, when Rumian disguised herself as a worker, infiltrating to scout out the enemy situation. She carefully read the data sheet in her hand, Lu Zhe's goods number. When Rumian slowly walked, finally stopping in front of a place, it must be here. Looking at the piles of containers in the warehouse, she frowned and thought, is it this? When Rumian's finger swiped on the container, suddenly noticing an abnormality according to the number in it. She could not help but be suspicious of this, the numbers of this type of goods are all 8 digits, why does it only have 6 digits? When Rumian's hand slowly pulled out her phone from her pocket. After comparing it with the parameters on the phone, she came to a conclusion, that is not right, the numbers of these goods are not the same as the customs report, there is indeed a problem. When Rumian secretly followed the every move of the workers from behind, there were always people guarding, she could not get close to see. Her mind kept calculating, trying to find a solution, what should I do? At this moment, a voice suddenly rang out, drawing the attention of the workers. The man narrowed his eyes, staring intently in the direction of the sound, shouting loudly, who is there? 2 warehouse staff hurried over while asking loudly, what is the matter, what happened? Taking the opportunity, Rumian approached the shelf and put her hand into her pocket to take something out. At the same time another staff member replied to the person who asked. I do not know either, quickly clean up, otherwise the boss will scold us. Quickly, her hand had quickly attached a small tracking device to the item. The staff member's voice continued to ring out, okay, everyone continue working. Rumian realized that someone was coming back and secretly became vigilant. The 2 warehouse staff saw her and were surprised, then one of them immediately questioned, who are you? He asked suspiciously, are you new? Rumian replied calmly, I am a new customs officer, I am here to check the data of this shipment, I discovered that the number of this shipment has a problem. I need to report it to the higher-ups. The staff member said sternly, who told you to come and check? His hand quickly grabbed her arm and pulled her out. The warehouse staff held on to Rumian, warning, you can't touch this shipment, if you know what is good for you, then leave quickly. She struggled, let go of me, I am doing my job normally, what are you doing? He pointed at Rumian and said loudly, are you new? I think you came to steal something, catch her for me. Rumian exclaimed, what? After speaking, the warehouse staff immediately grabbed her wrist. Jihan pretended, I do not know what you are talking about. His voice was full of threat, don't act anymore, you follow me to the manager's office. In an instant, Rumian twisted her wrist to control the opponent. She twisted the arm of the warehouse staff, the force was so strong that the sound of dislocated joints could be heard clearly, followed by a scream. Caught off guard, he cried out in pain and surprise, you. Before he could recover, the warehouse staff member was hit again by Rumian with a knee strike to his lower body, he screamed, ouch. Trembling in pain, the warehouse staff member clutched his sensitive area and shouted, someone, there is a thief here. Rumian ran while calculating, I must get away quickly. The scene suddenly became chaotic, and the other warehouse staff members immediately chased after her, shouting, stop. They chased her very closely, she won't escape. Soon Rumian saw Yunxiang waiting for her on the jet ski next to the mooring dock. Her hand quickly grabbed the railing. Then Rumian jumped to the back of him and urged urgently, drive. Yunxiang looked at her, smiling in response, yes, madam. Watching the jet ski quickly rev up and disappear, the warehouse staff cursed angrily, damn it. They were helpless, angry, standing at the port watching for a long time without finding a way to chase after them, and they were all out of breath. Rumian turned her head to observe, feeling happy in her heart, Lu Zhe, you really have a problem. Yunxiang steered the jet ski carrying the 2 of them forward. He asked worriedly, are you okay? Rumian was thinking, of course I have to investigate, I have to be fast, but then she heard Yunxiang continue, it is good that you are okay. We will investigate slowly later. She replied softly, I am okay, but it is a pity I could not see what is inside. Rumian held up something and said, although I did not see what is inside, I installed a tracking device, as long as the shipment is exported, I can know what is inside. In her hand was a tracking device controller, her voice excited, learning from him. Luckily there was a tracking device last time, I was able to find you. I just checked. The place of export for the shipment is Singapore, we can follow it at any time. Yunxiang happily praised, that is also because you are quick-witted. Rumian did not feel shy and accepted it, of course. The scene changed, the Buyicheng Club appeared in front of them. In the office, Yunxiang sat in the executive chair, listening to everyone's opinions. Suddenly a cane slammed hard on the floor, causing a loud noise. A middle-aged man questioned agitatedly, young Master Nya, Buyicheng suspending business for 2 months, is this any different from closing down? He was Li Cheng, a shareholder of Buyicheng. Zhang Duan, the manager of Buyicheng's catering department, also agreed but did not dare to speak up. Li Cheng said angrily and loudly, at first I opposed that snot-nosed girl becoming the general manager, now it is good, my good friends have all gone to Jinding Men. Yunxiang replied calmly, if the shareholders want to withdraw their shares now, I can directly transfer the money. Looking at the pen in his hand with the symbol of an eagle spreading its wings, his voice rang out, have you ever seen a young eagle? With a firm gaze looking straight at the person opposite him, Yunxiang spoke meaningfully, when it is learning to fly, it has to fall a few times before it can control the airflow to soar. Not agreeing, Li Cheng immediately retorted, that year you were young and wanted to start a business, if it were not for me respecting your father. Before the words could be finished, he saw Yunxiang's hand slamming hard on the table, this action stunned him. He reminded coldly, Boss Li, you have also made a lot of money these years, have not you? I have at least helped your assets increase 100-fold, it is time for you to enjoy your old age. Feeling humiliated, Li Cheng was angry but quickly explained, young Master Nya, we do not doubt your ability, it is just that when Rumian is after all a woman. You, Zhang Duan, who was listening nearby, also boldly supported, that is right, we also have to support our families, now we do not even know if Buyicheng can continue to open. Are we all going to drink the northwest wind? His voice rang out, in short, you can't play with women and make us pay for it, right? Yunxiang silently and gently stood up. He said slowly, when Rumian has been the general manager of Buyicheng for 2 years. Looking at the two people in front of him, Yunxiang continued, causing business profits to triple. After speaking, he concluded in a deep voice, I think the woman in your mouth is more capable than any of the men among you. Li Cheng was still not convinced. Then how does she handle the matter of Buyicheng suspending business? Yunxiang pointed to the stack of papers on the table and suggested, at present, you all have a copy of the share transfer agreement, if you withdraw your shares. Sign it, the agreement will immediately take effect. If you still believe me, I can also make Buyicheng open again, of course, when Rumian is still the general manager. Looking at the words, share transfer agreement, on the contract, Li Cheng quietly frowned. Zhang Duan could not say anything more, and just sighed softly. After a moment of consideration, Li Cheng spoke, young Master Nya, we are businessmen, not making money is foolish. Since you have said that, I will believe you one more time, Yunxiang replied, I understand. Before he and Zhang Duan left, he also guaranteed, Buyicheng will definitely be back in business. The two of them said in a low voice, okay. Yunxiang silently looked down at the eagle symbol on the pen again. At the same time, Rumian stood alone outside the office balcony, quietly thinking. Suddenly, someone put a jacket on her shoulder. It turned out to be Yunxiang. He asked softly, what are you thinking? Rumian smiled and replied, they are right, maybe I do not have the ability to run Buyicheng. Yunxiang's hand pulled his jacket to cover her completely. He approached Rumian and comforted, Mian, you are too kind, I did not expect Lu Zhe to use such insidious tricks like underage girls, if you really have to say what is not right. It is that you always shoulder everything alone, you do not want me to help with anything. She hesitated, but I do not want to make it difficult for you. Looking at her gently, Yunxiang smiled softly, difficult, there is still nothing that can make it difficult for me. Guess what is in Lu Zhe's shipment? He handed the phone to Rumian, look what your tracking device has located. Looking at the phone screen in front of her, she exclaimed in surprise, this is. The more Rumian looked, the more her eyebrows furrowed, but her eyes brightened. Yunxiang's voice rang out, your tracking device has done a great job, it has located the point of destination. She doubted, strange, the destination of this shipment is Singapore, why is it being unloaded in Myanmar? Yunxiang explained, Myanmar, this is an unregulated area. Rumian understood and immediately exclaimed, no wonder, choosing to trade goods here is too appropriate. The scene changed, someone suddenly discovered something strange in the shipment, a surprised voice immediately exclaimed, ugh. Two of Lu Zhe's staff members looked at each other, one picked it up and observed, what is this? The other one replied, it is not good, it looks like a tracking device. Quickly report it to the boss. The tracking device in hand was quickly transferred away. A moment later in the office, the staff member carefully reported to Lu Zhe, boss, the thing was found in the shelving. Hearing that, he became alert, a tracking device, is it the police? The other person replied, it does not look like it, there is also another thing, last time at the pier there was a woman who wanted to open the goods, we suspect it is the same group. Lu Zhe immediately asked back, a woman, what did she look like? The staff member thought about it and then answered awkwardly, I did not see clearly, but her skills were not bad. As soon as the words were finished, the sound of a table slamming angrily rang out. Lu Ze scolded loudly, causing the two staff members to be frightened. No matter who it is, daring to block my road to wealth, I will kill them all. The staff member came closer, showing him a picture that had been collected on a tablet. It was her. While Lu Ze looked at Rumian's picture on the screen, his voice rang out recounting, it is this woman, she looks delicate but unexpectedly makes decisive moves. Our staff was turned around by her, it is hateful. After observing for a long time, Lu Ze frowned and thought to himself, this figure. His heart suddenly jumped, his eyes became extremely terrified. Lu Ze tried his best to suppress his anger and then instructed the staff, pay attention to Rumian of Biyichang for me, and also Nye Yunxiang. The staff member immediately replied, yes. His expression became deep, and his voice was chilling, if she has the ability, then come, I will let her have no return. The scene changed, Rumian lazily lay on the table, calculating in her heart, let Yunxiang pay attention to the tracking of the goods first. She said to herself, Biyichang suspending business, even if it reopens, it will be greatly affected. Yunxiang opened the door and walked in, carrying 2 glasses of water in his hand. You can take this time to rest, and conveniently think of new methods for Biyichang in the future. Seeing him, she suggested, Nye Yunxiang, Biyichang's business is still quite traditional, I want to make it a little more special. Gently placing a glass of water on the table, Yunxiang's voice rang out, tell me specifically. Rumian looked at the plan on her phone while excitedly presenting, Biyichang has high-end customers after many years of business, because the threshold is too high. Ordinary people basically can't enter. Rich people with more money want to make money in a place like this, only with real spending power can Biyichang become a real city that never sleeps. After listening, he asked softly, do you have a direction already? Without answering immediately, Rumian carefully scrolled through the ideas she had saved. Then she put the phone in front of Yunxiang, I want to turn it into a cultural symbol, rich people are willing to come here to trade, ordinary people can come here to make money and spend money. This is a place where many people can realize their dreams. Taking the phone, carefully examining it for a while, he praised, very good thinking, but these 2 types of people are likely to be difficult to get into the same game. Rumian was quite surprised at Yunxiang's attitude, so she tried to ask, so you think the suspension of business may be an opportunity to break this barrier? He glanced at her and then said gently, no matter what you do, I will support you wholeheartedly, you do not need to worry about capital. Hugging the other person, Rumian cheered, really, Yunxiang, I will definitely return you a different Biyichang. He teased, you are only the most enthusiastic at this time. She was embarrassed, I am not. Yunxiang added, that is right, you have to be careful of Lu Ze these days, he probably has discovered your tracking device, so he will be even more defensive. The scene changed, the office door appeared in front of them, a staff member walked in with a stack of documents in his hand, reporting, Boss Lu, the information you wanted is here. His voice rang out, come in, put it on the table. The staff member replied, yes. Lu Ze opened the file and carefully read it. He thought to himself, opening Biyichang at 18, this kind of absurd resume, only a dog would believe. The staff member hesitated and said, Boss Lu, the information on Nye Yunxiang could not be found. Lu Ze slammed the document in his hand shut, scolding angrily, waste, is he not from Earth, why can't he be investigated? He slammed his hand on the pile of photos on the table and hissed, and this person. Pointing to a photo of Rumian, Lu Ze's voice rang out, tell me, in this world, are there 2 people with exactly the same appearance? Looking at the staff member who was bowing his head, he questioned, tell me, can the dead come back to life? The staff member did not know how to answer for a moment. After a while, he said timidly, Boss Lu, I will continue to send people to investigate. Lu Ze's hand suddenly threw a photo hard at his face. While carefully reviewing the documents again, he waved his hand and coldly ordered, hurry up. The staff member bowed his head, yes, I will quickly investigate the results. The night sky outside was pitch black, and heavy raindrops fell continuously. In that heavy rain, a scene suddenly appeared on the road where 2 men were fighting, one man held the other down tightly and shouted loudly, you gambler, if you do not pay me tonight, I will chop off one of your hands. The person being controlled seemed to have been beaten a lot, his face was red and swollen in many places, and he pleaded in pain, give me a little more time. 3 days, no, 7 days, I will definitely pay you. Half of someone's somber face appeared in the rain, with a cigarette in his mouth. It turned out to be Lu Ze's staff member, he said coldly, perhaps. The staff member's hand clipped the cigarette, his voice continued slowly, you do not need to pay anymore. The scene changed, in the office, Rumian sat in Yunxiang's chair while he stood beside her, she pointed to the design and then explained in detail, the main stage must be placed here. It must be visible to others when they come in, but once the entrance is congested, it is difficult to manage. Her finger pointed to a place on the design, Yunxiang's voice rang out, we can't just have one entrance, Biyichang is a city, there can be 4 directions and 8 sides. Rumian understood, we can install 2 more side doors. He looked at her and continued, this not only improves the main part, but also involves changing the entrance. The amount of work is not small. She added, but this way, not only will customers have a good experience, but we can also accommodate more people, and management will be more convenient, even fire prevention and firefighting will be guaranteed. Yunxiang was surprised. Mian, you even thought about fire prevention and firefighting, hello. Rumian worried, I am just afraid that your pressure will be too great. He replied gently, you can do whatever you want. Her voice rang out with questions, but such a big investment and then reopening for business, will those old shareholders have any objections? While they were talking, a strand of Rumian's hair accidentally brushed against the back of Yunxiang's hand. That moment made him momentarily lost. He quickly withdrew his hand and replied, at worst they withdraw their shares, I have long not wanted to let them suck our blood anymore. Rumian asked hesitantly, are you sure? Yunxiang immediately affirmed, I am very sure, you can make a budget plan, I will think of a way. She calculated roughly, and then gave a relatively accurate number, the repairs may need 150 million yuan. He snatched the calculator from Rumian's hand, and agreed cheerfully, no problem. She was still a little worried, but the shareholders may not agree. Yunxiang turned the chair to face Rumian, who said we need the shareholders' money, I will invest the entire amount. This 150 million yuan, I am willing to spend it for you. Rumian grabbed his tie and pulled him closer, gently kissing him on the cheek, Nya Yunxiang, thank you for your trust. Yunxiang's hand immediately took her neck. He leaned down and gently kissed Rumian's lips. She wrapped her arms around Yunxiang's neck and then responded enthusiastically, the two kissed and forgot the world. At the height of it, he suddenly stopped, leaving Rumian's lips, sorry. The two separated. Yunxiang calmly picked up the design and looked at it and then said, Boss Wen, you seduce me like this, I do not have such great concentration. Seeing his expression, she scolded, Nya Yunxiang, are you teasing me? He did not answer, but quickly turned his back to her, and then made an excuse, I am going to give the drawing to my architect friend abroad to take a look. Rumian realized something was wrong and, angrily questioned, what are you holding back your laughter about? She suddenly stopped because she saw that all the buttons on her shirt had been unbuttoned by the other person, and now revealed the shirt inside with a yellow duck on it. The general office at Biyicheng immediately echoed with Rumian's embarrassed explanation, it was a discounted gift. An hour later, she lay sprawled on the table, closing her eyes and muttering, stage lights, can't use cold light. Yunxiang gently stroked her hair, still likes to be so strong. Rumian softly scolded, Nya Yunxiang, you are annoying. In the silent space, his voice rang out gently, then I will be even more annoying, take you home. After that, the repair and renovation work of Biyicheng was quickly carried out, Rumian and Yunxiang supervised it together. Carefully looking at the design, Rumian spoke, the thickness of the soundproof room on the second floor should be the thickest. Before, the volume of the wine glasses was shaking. Yunxiang leaned down and pointed his hand to the floor to experiment. Boswen even calculated the resonant frequency of the wine glasses, she said, no need to calculate, this is experience. Suddenly he paused slightly because he felt that something was wrong behind his back. Just as he sensed, his eyes became flustered, Yunxiang quickly shouted, be careful. As soon as the words were finished, he immediately rushed over and hugged Rumian completely to protect her. A large ceiling fell from above, hitting Yunxiang's back hard. Too unexpectedly, Rumian was also extremely flustered, and her and Yunxiang's bodies fell to the ground with a crash. Her mind became dizzy for a moment, and her vision was blurred. Yunxiang quickly struggled up and asked worriedly, are you okay? Seeing the person in front of her clearly, Rumian also immediately worried and asked him loudly, Nya Yunxiang, are you okay? Not seeing her answer his question, Yunxiang became even more flustered, are you injured? Not seeing him answer, she quickly grabbed his hand that was checking her head and called out anxiously, Nya Yunxiang. Rumian's voice became urgent, I am asking you. Seeing her worried, Yunxiang paused slightly. A worker nearby hurriedly ran over and asked in a panic, Boss Wen, Boss Nya, are you two okay? Yunxiang ordered loudly, stop all construction, check all safety. The worker quickly replied, yes. Rumian's hand tightly grabbed his tie and pulled him back. Not letting him leave, she looked at him and ordered, go, to the office, let me check. In the office, the medical kit was placed strongly on the table. Yunxiang sat on one side and said softly, you came back so quickly. Rumian did not answer, but quickly opened the medical kit and ordered, turn around. She came over and took off his coat for him. Yunxiang whined, let me take off my clothes, can you be a little gentle? Rumian scolded softly, stop it, turn around and let me check. The white shirt was quickly pulled down by Rumian, revealing his strong shoulders. Seeing her flustered expression, Yunxiang teased, this lady, can you pull a man's clothes off a little gently? Rumian exclaimed as soon as she saw his back, you are bleeding. In front of her, a long scratch that was bleeding appeared on Yunxiang's large back. Rumian's eyebrows furrowed, her eyes filled with heartache. She carefully treated him, gently applying antiseptic to the wound. Idiot, who told you to suddenly rush out? Yunxiang understood the worry in the other party's heart and comforted. I am okay, it is just a skin wound. Rumian leaned close to his back, gently blowing to soothe the wound. This unintentional action stunned Yunxiang. Seeing him a little strange, she quickly asked, does it hurt? Yunxiang sniffed, his face flushed with embarrassment and replied, "It does not hurt, it is just a little hot down there." This time it was Rumian who was stunned, and she stammered to explain, "Even you, I just wanted you to not hurt." Yunxiang was honest, "In front of you, my concentration is not enough." The scene of the large Chang Club building appeared before the morning sun. The man who had been controlled by Lu Zhe's staff for debt collection in the rain, now held a glass of water and greeted Rumian happily, "Boss Wen, have some water." He deliberately said, "The sparkling water that just came in, try it." Rumian reached out and took it without any precautions. "Uncle Wu actually knows I like to drink sparkling water." Frowning slightly, his eyes were somewhat helpless as he watched her bring the water to her mouth, he replied awkwardly, I also asked other people to find out." After Rumian finished drinking, she said happily, "Thank you, it is very delicious." Taking advantage of her turning around to leave while answering the phone, "Has it arrived? Okay, I am going out to check the goods now." Uncle Wu secretly took the glass and carefully put it into a small specimen bag. After finishing, he trembled and thought to himself, "Sorry, Boss Wen, I am also being forced." The cup was quickly taken to the appraisal room for DNA analysis. Lu Zhe leaned against the glass partition between the appraisal room and the space outside. With a pensive expression, he silently smoked while waiting. Soon the appraisal results were completed, and the report was quickly taken out. Lu Zhe calmly reached out to receive the result sheet. He examined it carefully and sneered, when Rumian. Looking at the words, DNA matching rate 99.99%, confirming father-daughter relationship, Lu Zhe sighed inwardly, "So you really are Lu Zhihan." His hand immediately crumpled the result sheet. Looking at the crumpled paper in his hand, Lu Zhe's expression became increasingly gloomy. "Killing my daughter to defraud insurance money, I do not regret it. If I did not have that money at the time, I would have been finished, but I did not expect you to not be dead." He asked himself softly, "Did you come back to seek revenge on me?" Lu Zhe gritted his teeth and hissed the familiar name, Lu Zhihan. Regaining his composure, he announced, "Then I can only kill you again." Lu Zhe answered a phone call. The other end reported, "The shipment has arrived at port number 3. He replied, "Very good, everything is under my control, unload the goods according to the plan." The scene changed. Lu Zhe's ship carrying the shipment was docked at the port. In the dark night, many containers could be vaguely seen on the deck. The staff member who received the order did the work while reminding the others, "Act according to the plan, everyone hurry up." Everyone said in unison, "Okay." Lu Zhe's staff member made a phone call to report, "All the goods have been equipped with tracking devices, and the detonating devices have been installed." The other end of the line replied, "Good, wait for the fish to bite the hook." With everything done, the staff carefully supervised the containers being loaded onto the ship. Tonight, the Chang Club was extremely quiet. Rumian was still in the office working, feeling inexplicably uneasy in her heart. The phone next to her suddenly rang with a notification sound. Looking at the screen, she realized that the tracking device she had installed on Lu Zhe's shipment earlier had suddenly reactivated. Rumian could not help but wonder, why does the tracking device suddenly have a signal again? Just then, someone turned the doorknob to open the door, causing it to make a sound, click. Yunxiang quickly walked in, carrying some documents in his hand. Lu Zhe has a shipment that needs to go through customs clearance these days. Rumian was surprised, where? Handing the documents to her, he said, "Originally, the shipment was supposed to dock at Kaideluo port at the end of this month, but now it is changing direction to the seaport of Ludi Island next to it." Rumian said, "Then this shipment definitely has a problem." She reached for the phone on the table. Then Rumian immediately made a phone call, "Sister Ruashi, I want to set off to Ludi Island immediately." The person on the other side replied, "Okay." Yunxiang was worried, "You can't go alone," but this time he could not go. That day he had to solve Bi Chang's capital problem. She quickly comforted him, "Yunxiang, I am okay." To reassure him, Rumian added, "This time I will prepare fully, so he can't turn over." Still feeling uneasy, Yunxiang loudly advised, "Moreover, I have a premonition, this time may be a trap, you can wait for the next time." Suddenly there was a knock on the door, startling both of them. Ruashi walked in and said, "It has been found out where the shipment is specifically being imported, port number 3. Rumian was curious, what did they declare? She gave her a document, and then continued to report, "They declared it as machinery equipment, but I found out through a customer of Bi Chang, that basically no one ordered it." Ruashi recounted the details of a suspicious problem. The latest customs declaration for the shipment clearly states that it is transporting machinery equipment. But I checked the customs records, and there is basically no declaration for this shipment. Hearing this, Rumian thought to herself, machinery equipment, Lu Zhe's excuse is not bad. Her voice rang out suggesting, "Sister Ruashi, I want you to go to Ludi Island with me." She immediately agreed, "No problem, I am familiar with that place." Yunxiang gently instructed, "Ruashi, you two must pay attention to safety, if there is anything unusual, immediately retreat, do not force it." She understood his worry about this trip and reassured, "Don't worry, the seaport of Ludi Island is where I grew up, I can't get lost even with my eyes closed." Faced with the determination of the two, Yunxiang sighed, okay, but you two must keep in touch at all times. If there is anything unusual, immediately retreat, do not force it. On the main road, a black car sped forward. Ruashi was driving while exclaiming, Xiaomian, you let me see a blind side of Nie's love, how terrible. Rumian smiled happily, it is not as scary as you said, he is just too worried about me. After thinking for a while, she suddenly spoke, Sister Ruashi, when we get to the pier, I will go find the goods first, you help me keep an eye on Luze. She replied softly, okay. Soon the pier of Ludi Island appeared in front of them. Rumian put on glasses and earphones and then got out of the car. Ruashi carefully reminded, you must be careful. She gave a thumbs up and replied, don't worry, I know my limits. In the darkness, Rumian quickly moved towards the container yard. A day later, the two continued to come here. This time they were equipped with diving gear, Rumian explained while putting on her wetsuit, Sister Ruashi, we will go from underwater. It will be more secretive. Ruashi said softly, Xiaomian, ready. Under the sea, the two quietly approached Luze's cargo ship. The guards on the ship, after checking everything, urged each other, let us go. Rumian and Ruashi quickly clung to the side of the ship and climbed up. After getting on the ship, Rumian took a flashlight and moved inside alone. After searching for a while, it seemed she had found something, thinking to herself, it is here. Standing in front of a shipment, Rumian carefully assessed it and calculated, let us see what it is after all. The shipment was quickly pried open by her with an iron bar. As soon as she saw the goods inside, Rumian was so surprised that she exclaimed silently, guns. Her eyes showed a clear complexity, Luze is actually smuggling weapons, no wonder. Rumian sent a message to Yunxiang with the content, he is dead for sure. She silently stared at the screen waiting for a response. Quickly he texted back, the content was extremely urgent, retreat immediately. Rumian put her phone in her pocket and quickly stood up. Just as she was about to leave, she saw two staff members walking this way while chatting. The boss said we have to focus 200% of our spirit on this shipment. Otherwise everyone will be out of a job. You guys, take turns on duty tonight, do not let anyone get close. I know, what time is not important. The voice of one of the two people rang out, carry these barrels out first. Rumian thought to herself, it seems he is not doing this just once. She sent a message to Ruashi, Sister Ruashi, retreat. At that moment, a staff member suddenly appeared from nowhere, shining a flashlight on Rumian while shouting loudly, who are you? Hearing the shout, she was stunned, so nervous that she was sweating. Rumian put her hand into her pocket and gently pulled out a small knife. As quick as lightning, she turned around and put the knife to the staff member's neck and threatened loudly, don't speak, otherwise you can only shut up forever. He was attacked unexpectedly and was extremely scared. Hearing this person beg, don't kill me, Rumian decisively hit the back of the other party's neck hard with a palm. Without a sound, he just fell down like that. She grabbed his collar and dragged him into a hidden corner. Rumian quickly left, calculating in her heart, there is not much time left, quickly meet up with Sister Ruashi. Having waited for a long time outside, Ruashi felt anxious, why has not Xiaomian come out, could something have happened? Suddenly she heard footsteps, she thought to herself, they are here, but listening again, these footsteps were very different, her eyes suddenly widened and she exclaimed, not right. Stepping out of her hiding place, Ruashi saw the people waiting in front of her and exclaimed softly, big trouble. Luze smiled softly, asking in a cold voice, you did not expect it, did you? He said triumphantly, seeing you rats crawling up and down, I could not bear to bother you. Ruashi scolded angrily, you are the rat. Luze ordered loudly, catch her for me. Immediately two people came forward to control her. Struggling without being able to escape, Ruashi shouted loudly, what do you want to do? Let me go. Luze replied contemptuously, what do I want to do? I should be asking you that. He said cheerfully, but it does not matter, because waiting for one Rumian to come, you can set off together. At this time, Rumian was running like the wind through the rows of cargo containers. While running, she worried, why has not Sister Ruashi replied to my message, could something have happened? Suddenly Rumian stopped, questioning suspiciously, that is, her eyes gradually became distraught when she saw that Ruashi had been captured by Luze. She hid close to a container and said to herself, not good. Seeing Ruashi being controlled, Rumian called out anxiously in her heart, Sister Ruashi. Luze turned his head slightly to the back, smirking, don't hide anymore. She heard his voice ringing out, I know you are here. Her feet stepped out decisively. Rumian asked coldly, Luze, what do you want? She honestly suggested, whatever you want, we can discuss it slowly, release her first. Luze saw the person clearly and called out the name coldly, when Rumian. He raised his eyebrows challenging, why should I listen to you? Seeing that Rumian did not answer, Luze's voice rang out sarcastically, or should I call you my good daughter, Lu Jihan? Ruashi reminded loudly, Xiaomian, ignore me, go quickly. Rumian said slowly, if you already know. Then exchange me to stay, you let her go, she seriously suggested. Then looking directly at the person opposite, Rumian said softly, is this exchange condition qualified enough? At this time, Luze suddenly clapped sarcastically, clap clap. He raised his eyebrows, his eyes sarcastically mocking, "What deep sisterly love, I am about to cry, if that is the case, then I will fulfill you." Speaking of this, Luze turned his eyes to order the people behind him, "Someone, catch Rumian first." They all replied in unison, "Understood." Seeing Rumian being captured, Ruashi called out in panic, "Mian Mian, no, I won't leave you alone," but she still calmly comforted, "It is okay, Sister Ruashi." Rumian smiled apologetically, "It was I who brought you here, I have to be responsible." Ruashi's eyes sparkled as she shook her head in denial, "Mian Mian, you fool. It is clearly I who should be ensuring your safety." But the next second, Rumian had to open her eyes in horror when she heard Luze give the order, "Take them all away." She strained her neck and screamed, "Luze, you do not keep your word." But he was indifferent, the bottom of his eyes calmly distorted in return, "Did I agree to let her go? Use your brain a little, when Rumian, since I can catch two people. Why should I let one go, to let her run back and report? I am not stupid." Speaking of this, Luze shook his head and sighed disappointedly, "It is also strange, clearly half of my blood is flowing in your body, but your IQ did not inherit even half from me." Hearing these words, Rumian smiled coldly and retorted, "Ha, half of the blood, I have nothing to do with a murderer like you." She gritted her teeth and spat out each word, "Don't try to gild your face like that." Luze was not angry either, only looking at her indifferently, "Okay then a murderer like me." He narrowed his eyes darkly and continued, "Today I will let you die once again." Speaking of this, Luze also turned to leave, "Take them away." Rumian behind still shouted loudly, "Do you think I am afraid of death?" She bit her teeth tightly, using all her strength to shout her declaration, Rumian has been dead for a long time." Soon after, both Rumian and Ruashi were taken onto a car. Ruashi, with her hands tightly bound, looked apologetically at Rumian beside her, "Mian Mian, I am sorry, it is all because of me that you were implicated." But she still shook her head gently and comforted, "It is not your fault, Luze had already set a trap, we just fell into his plan." Rumian squirmed her tied hands again, lowering her voice to suggest softly, "In short, now we have to think of a way to escape from this place, look around to see if there is any hard object like a wrench." Ruashi also nodded and looked around, Rumian had another flash of inspiration, looking down at the bottom of the car seat, "Let us see if there are any car repair tools under the seat." Just as she looked down, she saw a mysterious object neatly placed under the seat. Rumian opened her eyes wide, speculating in her heart, "This is," until she realized what it was, she had to exclaim in shock, "Not good, Ruashi, there is a bomb under the seat." Ruashi also screamed in horror after hearing this. What? Only a moment later, both of them used their strength to raise their feet and try to kick open the car door to escape. Rumian and Ruashi desperately kicked open the car door, their eyes wide with anger as they scolded, "That bastard Luze, let us go." Rumian opened her eyes wide looking out the window, shouting loudly, "You are killing people, quickly let us out." At this time, the car window lowered, Luze stood outside leisurely smoking, "Don't struggle anymore, it is useless." Rumian saw his face and shouted angrily, "Luze." She sat back down in her seat wearily, asking incredulously, "Do you really have to go this far?" Luze was still smoking calmly, shrugging slowly to confirm, "Of course, in order to clear away those who are blocking my path to making money, I have spent a lot of effort. First, I used guns as bait to lure you here, then I dealt with both the bait and you." He slowly exhaled smoke, his eyes scheming and sinister as he continued to recount the plan. "Next, I will blame all the losses of my seafood shipment on your Bi Chang. These things are really time-consuming and laborious, but fortunately, my valuable shipment of contraband has been transferred away long ago." Rumian listened to everything, her lips trembling as she hissed, "Luze, you are so vicious." Luze heard this as a joke and chuckled sarcastically, "Ha, I am vicious." He extinguished the cigarette but, suddenly lowering his voice to ask a question, "Do you know the other reason why I want you to disappear?" Luze nodded, exhaling a sigh of admiration, "You are right, people often say, even a fierce tiger does not eat its cubs." He slowly pressed the cigarette butt against the side of the car, and asked again in a low, whimpering voice, "Then why am I so cruel to my own daughter?" Luze let go and let the cigarette butt fall, his voice casual but clearly telling a shocking truth, "Because you were never my own daughter." Rumian was stunned, her eyes wide with shock as she listened to him explain more clearly, "You are the child that your mother and my brother had." The corners of her lips trembled violently, her eyes wide with disbelief, "What are you saying?" Luze also had the heart to laugh harshly, repeating again, "You did not hear wrong, your mother betrayed me, having an affair with my brother, so from the day you were born, I wanted to strangle you to death." He shook his head disappointedly, his voice lamenting with emotion, "If it were not for your mother stopping me, I do not know how many times you would have died already." Luze seemed to want to bite through his teeth, his eyes filled with coldness as he declared, "My brother, oh no, your biological father, ruined my whole life. So, I want him in his only flesh and blood. You, to die, today, is the last day of your death." After recounting everything, he also breathed a sigh of relief, "Okay, you know everything you need to know." Luze did not linger, leaving Rumian in the car and turned to leave, "I am considered very benevolent, telling you everything so you can die with your eyes closed." He walked slowly away, his voice still echoing back his final greeting, "Goodbye, my dear daughter, I hope you enjoy yourself well in hell." Ruashi also called her anxiously, "Mian Mian." But Rumian was still lost in shock, forcing her to shout loudly again, "Mian Mian." Ruashi, seeing that she had regained her senses, then seriously suggested, "Try using the feather necklace on my neck, it has a sharp end." Rumian blankly followed, "Oh, okay." She quickly used her teeth to pull the necklace from Ruashi's neck, and used it to cut the rope tying her. The sharp end on the necklace sharply cut through the thick rope binding Rumian. After untying herself, she quickly turned to help Ruashi. "Done, Ruashi, let me help you untie." She turned her back, comforting softly, "Okay, Mian Mian, do not panic, we will definitely get out." They quickly finished untying. Ruashi observed for a while and then announced in fear, "It won't work, Mian Mian, the central control panel is broken, the car lock can't be opened at all." Rumian observed the car window and also shook her head saying, "The car windows are also super bulletproof, they can't be broken." Luze, he really acts ruthlessly. Ruashi immediately worried and asked herself, "What should we do now?" Rumian frowned and muttered, "Let me think." After a while, she suddenly woke up and thought of a way, "I have got it." Rumian quickly stood up trying to remove the car seats. "Sister Ruashi, quickly help me remove the car seats." Ruashi was confused, "Huh?" At this time, she shouted again, "There is another way." They quickly removed the car seats, then Ruashi was surprised again as if seeing something, "This is." Rumian knelt and crawled on the floor of the car, exhaling a sigh of explanation. "Somewhere in the trunk there must be an emergency pull ring, pulling it down can open the trunk from the inside." Ruashi nodded in understanding after listening, "So that is how it is." She took a deep breath and announced, "I will crawl in and see." Ruashi also nodded and instructed, "Okay, be careful." At this time, she suddenly glanced at the bomb under the seat showing 5 minutes and 25 seconds. Ruashi hurriedly approached Rumian and informed her of the news, "Mian Mian, the bomb countdown is only 5 minutes." She still calmly pulled the ring and replied, "Okay, it will be quick, I found the pull ring." Rumian quickly pulled the ring with force. The trunk was also opened accordingly. She quickly crawled out, "It is great, Sister Ruashi, follow me closely." But turning her head and seeing Ruashi's painful expression, Rumian asked worriedly, "Sister Ruashi, what is wrong?" She clutched her waist helplessly and replied, "Sorry, my waist, it seems like I just dislocated it." She hurried back to help Ruashi, "Let me support you, come on," but she hastily refused, "Don't worry about me, run quickly." The bomb slowly counted down with 3 minutes and 15 seconds left, but Rumian still resolutely did not abandon Ruashi. "What are you saying so silly? I already said, I will not leave you alone." She stretched out her hand again, urging in a hurried voice, "Give me your hand, quickly." Ruashi's eye sockets welled up with hot tears listening to Rumian's loud declaration, "Don't waste time, we have to survive together." Finally, she reached out and took her hand, "Okay." The bomb ticked down, only 1 second left and finally boom, the bomb exploded the car. The two of them were lucky enough to escape. At this time Rumian stood leaning against a tree wiping sweat and exclaimed, "Phew, almost, just one step away." Ruashi next to her also nodded, "Yeah, almost really." She frowned with full of questions about Rumian's method, and this, "How did you know how to escape from the trunk?" She did not hide anything, scratching her cheek and smiling awkwardly. "Nya Yunxiang taught me before." As soon as these words were finished, Yunxiang also suddenly appeared, "Mian Mian." Rumian laughed with pleasure, "Speak of the devil arrives." He quickly ran over and hugged her tightly, "Are you okay?" Rumian shook her head slightly and smiled replying, "I am okay." Yunxiang gently stroked her head, breathing a sigh of relief, "It is good that you are okay, scared me to death." He tightly hugged Rumian into his arms, his voice trembling with fear recounting, "I almost turned the whole city upside down before finding you, I came too late. I am sorry, luckily you are okay, otherwise She hurriedly clutched his clothes comforting, "Come on, it is okay now, I am fine." Yunxiang still closed his eyes tightly, choking back luckily, It is good that you are okay, it is good that you are okay, let us go home." Later, Rumian was taken to the hospital, where she met Zai Ping, Dr. Gu. Holding the huge bouquet of flowers she received, Rumian chuckled teasingly, "I might as well open a flower shop." Hearing this, Zai Ping scratched his head embarrassedly, sorry, besides flowers, I really could not think of anything else to visit you with, or, what do you want, I will go buy it for you." She quickly waved her hand to refuse, "No need, I was just joking, I really like purple irises, thank you." He smiled gently in response, "You are welcome." At this time, Yunxiang slowly walked in, covering his hand to cough a few times, cough cough. Carrying a box, he walked in, asking in a casual voice, "Am I disturbing you too?" Seeing him, Rumian greeted happily, "Yunxiang, you are here." She took the box from Yunxiang's hand, frowning and reminding sternly, "Can you not be so childish? Dr. Gu was just checking on the ward and stopped by to see me." Hearing this, he sarcastically said, "Oh." Then Zai Ping politely raised his hand to greet Yunxiang, "Hello." He smiled amiably, introducing himself in a leisurely tone, "First time meeting, I am Gu Zeping, a friend of Miss Wen." Yunxiang did not bother to acknowledge Zai Ping, but turned to question Rumian, "A friend, Why have you never told me you have such a friend? She slowly opened the box and ate in response. I just did not have time to introduce him. After saying this, Romian reached out to hook his elbow. She pulled Yunxiang closer to her, introducing with joy, Dr. Gu, this is my boyfriend, Nye Yunxiang, this is Dr. Gu Zepping. Hearing this title, Zepping awkwardly looked for a reason to leave. Ah, so you are her boyfriend. I still have several wards that have not been checked, I won't bother you two anymore. He waved goodbye to Romian and stepped away. Goodbye, I will visit again if I have the chance. She waved goodbye happily. Dr. Gu, take care. After Zepping had left, Romian earnestly pleaded with Yunxiang, believe me. She smiled helplessly, her eyes sincerely declaring, currently, besides my revenge plan, no one is more important than you. Yunxiang softened and nodded in agreement. I know. After staying with Romian for a while, he also left. On the way, he realized that Zepping was following him. Dr. Gu, is there something you need from me? He did not avoid it, but walked around the flower bushes and came out to meet him. Boss Nye is indeed someone who has been around. You noticed so quickly, then I won't beat around the bush anymore. Zepping did not bother to hide it, his eyes honestly informing, I like Miss Wen, I want to pursue her. Yunxiang raised his eyebrows and asked, oh, based on what? The depths of his eyes suddenly became icy, and he said firmly, based on the fact that you are a murderer. Yunxiang still stood calmly listening to Zepping recount the story in a cold voice. Boss Nye, do not think that just because you caused trouble in the United States. No one here knows anything. Let me tell you, I have a friend who is a jury lawyer in your case. He showed me the case file. I discovered that although you were acquitted at the time, there are many suspicious points in the file. After I overturned some of the initial evidence, I drew a new conclusion. Speaking of this, he took a deep breath and declared firmly, that conclusion is, your father's illegitimate child, who is also your half-brother, did not die in an accident, but was murdered, and the person who killed him is you, Nye Yunxiang. Yunxiang seemed to fall into a dream of the past, dreaming of unpleasant scolding. All day long you only know how to stay in your room drawing this garbage. He as a child once secretly opened the door of the room, looking at the white-haired woman painting inside, mixed with every regret of his father, marrying a woman like you is really boring. The little Yunxiang hid behind the large door, his eyes sparkling as he called silently, Mom. Later, his father's illegitimate child outside stood on a high platform and was solemnly introduced by his father. Please allow me to introduce to everyone, this is the eldest son of the Nye family. The future legitimate heir of our Nye family. While in another corner, little Yunxiang choked and called, Mom. He trotted and chased after his mother carrying a suitcase leaving in front, crying, Where are you going, Mom, don't leave me alone. When love becomes a prison, hatred will make people grow wings and fly away. In that dark and painful dream, ringing in his ears were voices calling to wake him up, Yunxiang. Romian stood beside Yunxiang and asked worriedly, What is wrong with you? You have been calling some name, having a nightmare. He gently rubbed his forehead replying, Oh, it is nothing. Yunxiang wearily rubbed his eyes and explained vaguely, I am probably a little tired recently. She put her hand on his shoulder, sighing gently, You have been taking care of me too much recently, so you are tired, you should go home and rest today, okay? Hearing this, he suddenly asked back, Go home, did the doctor say you can be discharged? Romian put her hands on her hips and nodded more clearly, the doctor said I can change bandages at home, and now I will go to the pharmacy to get some medicine and then do the discharge procedures, and it is done. As soon as these words were spoken, Yunxiang suddenly reached out and grabbed her wrist tightly. He used force to pull Romian into his arms, hugging her tightly and cheering, Great, I am really happy to see you recover so quickly. Romian, who was suddenly hugged, shyly reminded, Hey, what are you doing? We are still in the hospital. But he still only exclaimed, I am so happy. Speaking of this, Yunxiang narrowed his eyes and probed, Speaking of which, where are you planning to go back to? Romian rubbed her chin and replied seriously, Of course I am going back to Beicheng, they really need people there. Hearing this, he did not think much and stopped her, No, you are still in recovery, you can't be so tired, Beicheng still has Chenfeng and everyone else, you just need to supervise from a distance. She put her hand on his shoulder to wrap his neck, frowning, How can that work? I invested 150 million, I have to keep an eye on how the money is being used. Yunxiang sighed again reminding, Then you do not need to live at Beicheng either. Romian asked back, puzzled, Then where am I living? He pursed his lips in thought, and casually gave an answer, Of course at my house. Hearing this, she was startled, How can that work? Yunxiang used force to lift her up, frowning and asking unhappily, Why can't it work, we are lovers. He grabbed Romian's hand tightly, pouting and sadly said again, If not, we can stay in the hospital together. These words completely stunned her, Afterwards, Yunxiang grabbed Romian's hand and pulled her away. He resolutely and quickly pulled her back to his house. Romian sat curled up in a bathtub filled with water, her cheeks flushed red as she shyly called, That, Yunxiang. She whispered and emphasized softly, I can wash myself. But he sat on the edge of the tub wiping her body and retorted, No, what if it gets infected and you have to go back to the hospital again? Speaking of this, Yunxiang casually and calmly reminded, if you slide down again, the wound will get wet. He cleared his throat and seriously ordered, lean up a bit. Rumian called out softly, ah. In the bathroom, she kept calling out miserably, don't wash that place, Nya Yunxiang. After a while, Yunxiang carried Rumian out and scolded lovingly, taking a bath and getting so tired that your legs are soft, really? She blushed with shame and scolded back, it is all because of you. He carried her gently and placed her on the bed, again instructing gently, sit still on the bed, do not move around, I will go get the medicine. She also obediently followed, A moment later, Yunxiang enthusiastically brought the stuff in, only to find the room empty. He did not think much but carried the stuff to another room. Seeing Rumian wearing glasses and working, he sighed, sure enough, she is here. Yunxiang did not say much but came over and pressed the power button, causing her to scream, hey. Rumian pulled up her glasses annoyedly and scolded, what are you doing, it was almost done. Yunxiang helplessly reminded again, I told you to rest properly. You treat my words like the wind, right, stand up and take the medicine. She angrily picked up the glass of water and drank, I did not even have time to save it. He stood next to her patting her but threatening, if you do not listen to me, I will cut off the internet at home. Rumian stood with her hands on her hips angrily scolding, you are being blatantly overbearing, what kind of style is that? How am I supposed to look up the renovation plan materials for Bi Cheng? If you cut off the internet, but Yunxiang still left calmly, your plan now is to go to sleep. Rumian could only obey, sleep then sleep, what is so scary about it? A moment later, he saw her lying face down on the bed and ordered, turn over and sleep. But Rumian still stubbornly did not listen, I am not turning over, my butt hurts. Yunxiang slowly sat down on the side of the bed and asked back, really? Rumian looked up and saw him topless with his hands on his hips smiling coldly, looks like I have to make you hurt a little more. She carefully looked at every firm abdominal muscle of Yunxiang. The more she looked, the more Rumian's cheeks flushed red with embarrassment. She quickly covered herself with the blanket and lay properly, closing her eyes to chase people away, okay, you can go now, boss Nya. Seeing this, Yunxiang teased, you have given up so quickly, but Rumian still stubbornly denied, it is not that, I am sleepy. He also let her go, picking up his clothes and leaving, while letting out a threatening word, if you secretly run into the study again, do not blame me for not being polite. Rumian closed her eyes tightly and shouted, I know, go quickly. Yunxiang slowly walked out of the room, secretly smiling sinisterly thinking, humph, do not rush, the plans of the big bad wolf, have to wait until you become a healthy white rabbit. In the following days, he would enter the room with his arms crossed seriously looking at Rumian eating porridge. As time passed, she also removed the bandage wrapped around the wound on her arm. Again, there was a day, Rumian and Yunxiang were running together on a deserted road. Late at night, outside Bi Cheng, there were people soliciting and inviting, I heard that Bi Cheng is reopening today, let us go take a look. A man shook his head and refused, what is so good to see, we do not have enough money to spend in that place. The person next to him explained with interest, I heard that they are in the trial stage, after the renovation, anyone can enter for a free experience. He whispered even more clearly, except for the black tower on the top floor, that is a membership area, only serving the billionaires. The other person widened his eyes asking, billionaires, I wonder what it looks like inside, I am really curious. Inside Bi Cheng, Rumian made herself up beautifully and spoke, everyone has worked hard these past few months. She wore a charming pink cheongsam walking around to greet people, welcome back to Bi Cheng. Soon after, at the black tower of Bi Cheng, the eye scanning system of a blonde man rang with a notification, identity confirmed, welcome to no man's land. After finishing, he put on black glasses and walked in one direction. Many people also slowly scanned the code and entered a room, welcome everyone to the black tower of Bi Cheng. Inside the large room, a figure stood right in the center with a single light shining down. That person was Ruashi, she wore a cheongsam and announced loudly, tonight, we will auction off secrets that even God would not dare to record. You can buy a ticket to heaven, or a VIP seat in hell. She chuckled softly and began the program, without further ado, let us start with the first item in tonight's auction. A blue diamond was brought up accompanied by Ruashi's introduction. The Louis XIV blue diamond, the cursed kiss. She stood leisurely on the high platform, her clear voice echoing, this diamond was once attached to the crown of Queen Mary. After being stolen from the Palace of Versailles, all three owners who possessed the diamonds later died an unnatural death. As soon as these words were spoken, 3 ting-ting-ting sounds rang out. Ruashi smiled and announced, congratulations to guest number 035 for winning the treasure with a price of 120 million. She nodded contentedly and switched to the next item, okay, the next item. A strange book was presented, Ruashi raised her eyebrows and introduced with interest, the next auction item is a ledger of the devil, which records the overseas accounts of 327 politicians around the world, 731 assassination cases that have been ordered, along with the global arms trade network. Sure enough, as soon as the words were finished, guest number 012 pressed ting, showing a purple light that surprised even Yunxiang. He sat in a corner raising his glass of wine in question. What is purple light? Romian sat next to him and explained seriously, it is a signal indicating that no matter how much others bid, that person will pay 50 million higher. Yunxiang slowly sipped his wine, his eyes deeply speculating, could the person who turned on the light be Lu Zhe? Romian turned her head to observe everything, the corners of her lips curved into a meaningful smile, whether it is him or not, he is finished. These words made him confused, why? She crossed her arms on the table, her expression pondering as she analyzed, if he successfully bids, with his current capital he can't swallow this big cake. If it is not him, his trading channels will immediately be targeted by other forces, at that time, secretly making a fortune will also be impossible. Yunxiang listened to everything and nodded in understanding, so that is how it is. He reached out to pinch her nose praising, you really are a clever little devil. But Rumian pressed down on Yunxiang's hand with great seriousness and explained, seriously, Yunxiang, after what happened last time, he will definitely shift his target to you. So I have to strike first, lure him out. But he only stroked her hair and smiled reassuringly, actually, you do not need to worry so much, if he wants to come, then let him come, I am ready to face him. She angrily glared back at him, no, I won't let him hurt the people around me anymore. Yunxiang could only shrug in agreement, okay, I will listen to you. At this time, Ruashi on the stage suddenly said in a mysterious tone, the next auction item was donated by a mysterious person. Then, her next words made Yunxiang's eyes widen in surprise, the work of artist Chen Shuiying. Rumian was somewhat puzzled by his strange expression, while below Ruashi was still introducing loudly, caged bird. Yunxiang carefully observed the painting that was brought up, listening to her words, this work is a painting from artist Chen's early period. Ruashi pursed her lips, nodding her head slightly and continued, the bird cage in the painting is made of real gold. Everyone's eyes moved to the feathers in the painting following her detailed introduction. The feathers of the bird in the cage are woven from the hair of the artist Chen herself, dyed a dark red color like tears of blood. The mysterious person who donated this painting will donate all of the auction proceeds to charity, and will also donate an additional 80 million. At this time, Yunxiang, sitting above, suddenly erupted and questioned, who brought this painting here? Rumian next to him was also startled, explaining in a low voice, this, I do not know either, it might have been a temporary edition by Ruashi, what is wrong? But he laughed coldly repeating, humph, a temporary edition. Yunxiang's eyes were full of nostalgia, gritting his teeth as he replied, this painting is a work of my mother's when she was alive. Rumian also felt stunned hearing this, saying apologetically, I am sorry. But he clenched his hands muttering to himself, I can't let others buy it. Then, as soon as these words were finished, Ruashi's notifications rang out, Super VIP guest bids 110 million once, 110 million twice, 100. The person who bid unexpectedly turned out to be Nie Yunxiang's biological father, Nie Kuan. Yunxiang blankly looked at him, feeling shocked in his heart asking himself, why is he here? His resentment surged up, he gritted his teeth and slammed his glass on the table causing the base to shatter. Ruashi's voice echoed again, guest number 003 has triggered the price light. Over here, Rumian was also worriedly advising Yunxiang, what are you doing? You are bleeding, do not get excited. But he still only gritted his teeth and said to himself, I absolutely can't let him get this painting. At this time, Nie Kuan also reached out and pressed a button, Ruashi's surprised voice also rang out, Super VIP guest has also triggered the price light. Yunxiang could not believe his ears, wondering in astonishment, what? He hurriedly turned his head frowning and questioning Rumian, what the hell is going on, how can he also trigger the light? She was also blank and did not understand anything. I do not know either. At this time, a pop sounded, a strange sound suddenly rang out. Ruashi, standing on the stage, embarrassedly raised her hand and smiled apologetically, sorry everyone, due to technical difficulties, the auction will be temporarily suspended. As soon as these words were spoken, Yunxiang's face darkened and he hurriedly ran off. He rushed straight down to Ruashi, asking with sharp eyes, where is that person? She was asked and blurted out blankly, huh? Yunxiang pursed his lips panting, clarifying more clearly, the person who triggered the super VIP price light. Ruashi slowly rolled up the painting and said softly, oh, are you talking about that mister? Yeah, he left a long time ago. She carefully handed the rolled painting to him, pursing her lips and softly instructed, he also said he would not donate or auction the painting anymore, but wanted to leave it for someone who really knows how to cherish it. Pausing for a moment, Ruashi lowered her voice and added, he also clearly said to leave it for Boss Nye. After giving the painting to Yunxiang, she could not help but ask curiously, so Boss Nye knows that Mr. Nye, but he only denied coldly, I do not know him, you go back first. Ruashi did not ask any more questions, nodding slightly saying, okay, sorry. A moment later, in the VIP room. In the room, a young man wearing glasses respectfully reported, Boss Lu, it seems that our goods have been targeted. Hearing this, Lu Zhe angrily smashed things, damn it. He quickly made a phone call asking, hello, Boss Chen, is the girl I gave you still good lately? You have used her and find her a little uninteresting, right? It is okay, I have another girl, I guarantee you will like her. At this time, the sky outside was a dark expanse, accompanied by terrifying thunder rumbling. On the phone screen appeared a text message notification: the goods have been discovered, the European must be the immigrant. Luce read the message and snorted annoyedly, humph. He angrily slammed the phone on the table scolding, a bunch of idiots. At this time, someone knocked on the door outside. A female subordinate walked in and announced, "Boss, just received news, our warehouse on the side is being inspected by people." Luce's face darkened and he asked in detail, "Who, is it Bi Chang again?" The expression on the girl's face was full of worry as she explained, "No, it is the International Criminal Police." He sighed wearily, unable to restrain himself from cursing, "Damn it, this shipment of weapons, it is really a hot potato." At this time, ting, Luce received a text message from Boss Chen. "Didn't you say you had a new girl? It has been so long and she is still not here. You are not lying to me, are you?" Soon after, in another spacious room, Ji lay on the bed happily watching her phone. Ha ha ha, this blogger is so hilarious. At this time, there was a knock on the door. She quickly invited in, "Come in." Luce also opened the door and walked in. "Xiaoyu, are you watching videos?" Seeing him, Jiu quickly snuggled up. "Ah, Dad, what is the matter? I have been very obedient lately, I have not been going out to buy random things anymore." Luce smiled lovingly and announced, "I know, so today Dad wants to take you out to choose a gift." Hearing this, she was pleasantly surprised and could not believe it. "Wow, really, is that true?" A moment later, he led Jiu to a place. She looked around and exclaimed, "Wow, the jewelry here is all so beautiful." A staff member quickly asked, "Are you here to pick up the necklace that was ordered in advance?" Luce also nodded in response, "Yes." The staff member politely said, "Please wait a moment." After a while, Jiu looked at a necklace and praised, "Wow, the emerald is so beautiful, the craftsmanship is also very exquisite." She could not help but ask softly, "This necklace is very expensive, is not it? Do you really want to give it to me, Dad?" Luce slowly took the necklace and put it on her, affirming, "Of course, come on, Dad will put it on you." After putting it on, he laughed and praised, "Very beautiful, it suits you very well." Jiu also happily nodded gratefully, "Hee, I really like it, thank you Dad." But she suddenly thought of something, frowning suspiciously asking, "You are not going to use it to bribe me, and tell me to go on blind dates with the rich second generation that you like? Are you?" Luce laughed loudly denying, "How could I, my daughter is worth more than those guys." Jiu raised her index finger full of seriousness and promised, "Let me tell you, in the future I will rely on myself to make money, I won't live off of men." Luce nodded in agreement, chatting with her non-stop, Okay, our Xiaoyu is the most capable, of course. Dad, I feel like the sun rose from the west today. Time passed quickly. Jiu slowly opened her eyes, waking up. Hug. She sat leaning against the headboard, holding her forehead and complaining in pain, "My head hurts so much." Jiu looked around, feeling confused, asking herself, "This is a hotel, weren't I just eating with Dad, why did I end up here?" She staggered out of bed trying to find a way to leave. Jiu used force to open the door but could not, scolding annoyedly in her heart, "Damn it, I can't open the door." At this time, an old fat man wrapped in a towel came out calling, "Aya, little beauty, you are awake." Jiu immediately panicked, covering herself up and screaming, "Who are you, what do you want to do?" She shouted loudly threatening, "Don't come over, do you know who I am?" The old man, who was Boss Chen, rubbed his forehead replying, "Of course I know, you are Luce's daughter." Jiu angrily rolled her eyes pointing straight at his face, "You know and you still dare to come, do you believe my dad will beat you to death?" But Boss Chen still rushed over grabbing her arm. "Don't worry, your dad can't beat me to death." He grinned and slowly released a sentence that stunned Jiu, "Because it was your dad who told me to come." She opened her eyes incredulously, "What did you say?" but was thrown straight onto the bed by Boss Chen. "Ah." He also rushed onto the bed taking off his clothes, saying with a perverted smile, "Come on, darling, you can call me Dad later too." Jiu closed her eyes in horror screaming, "Get out." Boss Chen was still hunched over pressing closely to her body, "Give Dad a kiss." Jiu tried to push him away, disgusted, scolding, "Stay away from me, you damn pig." In her heart she remembered the happy scene before, thinking incredulously, "No, it can't be, today Dad clearly bought expensive jewelry for me, and took me to eat at a 5-star seafood restaurant." Jiu was being suppressed and could not escape, her eyes shining with painful tears, thinking, "Dad clearly treats me so well, it can't be Dad, the person who raised me for so many years." At this time, the door was suddenly opened. A person quickly rushed into the room, hitting the back of Boss Chen's neck. That person was Wenrumian. She forcefully knocked him unconscious. Boss Chen fell onto the bed. Jiu also sat up, still staring at her blankly. Wenrumian was also choked with sobs, unable to believe it, and asked with a trembling voice, "Xiaoyu, are you okay?" Hot tears welled up in Jiu's eyes, her lips trembled as she stammered, Sister Wen." She quickly rushed into her arms and cried bitterly, "Woo woo woo woo." Wenrumian gently stroked Wenrumian's hair, comforting her repeatedly, "It is okay now, it is okay now." After that, she hurriedly took her to the hospital. Jiu sat slumped, hugging her knees and her head on the bed. A nurse hesitated and reported the news, "Dr. Gu." She pulled out the 4-drip again. Ping nodded slightly in response, "I know, thank you for your hard work." When Rumian sighed with disappointment, asking with a worried voice, how long has she been like this, Zai Ping shook his head slightly, pursed his lips, and explained. Since last night, she started resisting treatment after being brought here. Her physiological indicators are fine, it must be a psychological problem. Does she have any relatives? She breathed out tiredly, and answered with a pained look, I once asked about her mother, but she said she disappeared. Zai Ping also nodded and made a suggestion, I see, then you can visit her often in the hospital. When Rumian lowered her head and agreed thoughtfully, yes, I will. She became like this partly because of me, so I am very heartbroken. Saying this, she reached out and grabbed his sleeve tightly again. When Rumian pursed her lips, her eyes sincerely pleading, Dr. Gu, when I am not here, could you please take care of her more? Zai Ping quickly nodded in agreement. Sure, I am a doctor, taking care of patients is what I should do. He then slowly reached out and took her hand. When Rumian breathed a sigh of relief and said gratefully, thank you, Dr. Gu. Zai Ping still replied gently, you do not need to be so polite with me. He kept holding her hand tightly, and no one noticed that Yun Xiang had arrived and observed everything from who knows when. A resounding voice called out, Mian Mian, when Rumian turned her head in surprise and asked in confusion, Yun Xiang, when did you arrive? Yun Xiang slowly walked closer to her and lowered his voice to explain, I have been here for a while. She pursed her lips and asked softly, why did not you call me when you arrived? Yun Xiang curled his lips into a smile and replied, I was in the non-smoking area having a cigarette. As soon as he said this, he also raised his hand and put it around Wen Rumian's shoulders. Yun Xiang looked coldly at Zai Ping next to her and asked sarcastically, also, every time I come to the hospital, I can meet Dr. Gu. Could it be that Dr. Gu is a general practitioner? He took a deep breath and explained gently, when I was in college, I studied a little psychology. Your friend Wen's emotions are not very stable, and I thought maybe I could help her. Yun Xiang also nodded indifferently and said politely, is that so? Then you have troubled yourself for our Mian Mian. I won't bother you anymore, I will take her home now. Zai Ping also nodded politely and said with a hidden meaning, you do not need to be so polite. I said before, her business is my business. No matter what, I will always help her. Yun Xiang pushed Wen Rumian away, his eyes sharp as he smiled insincerely, Dr. Gu is so kind to my girlfriend. Then I will thank you on her behalf first. After walking a few steps, he strode away first, causing her to hurry after him, Yun Xiang, wait for me. Yun Xiang suddenly stopped, causing Wen Rumian to bump her forehead into his back. Yun Xiang did not turn his head, only muttered darkly, Mian Mian, I thought I was not a narrow-minded person. You once told me that you only cared about me. Saying this, he raised his hand tiredly to cover his face and continued, but today, he held your hand. When Rumian listened as if petrified as Yun Xiang recounted through gritted teeth, a man touched his girlfriend's hand, but his girlfriend did not react to push him away. She pursed her lips, trembling slightly with guilt, I am sorry. But Yun Xiang only chuckled as he looked at her, don't apologize, really. When Rumian moved her lips and said quietly, maybe you do not believe it, but I really did not pay attention to Dr. Gu at that time. I did not think about anything else either. She sighed deeply, explaining in more detail in a soft voice, because I only had Lu Zhiyu's matter in my head, things exactly like what I had experienced, still betrayed by her biological father. Still pushed into the abyss of hell by Lu Zhe, but Lu Zhiyu does not seem to be able to get up, but me. Saying this, when Rumian choked with emotion and confessed, if I had not met you, would I be like Lu Zhiyu? As soon as she finished speaking, Yun Xiang flicked her forehead and scolded softly, silly girl. When Rumian closed her eyes in stinging pain, ugh. He gently lifted her face and advised, don't remember the past anymore, you have to live for the present, look at what is in front of you. Yun Xiang smiled gently, his voice melodious and assertive, the person who pulled you out of hell, Song Yun Xiang, is right in front of you. When Rumian looked up at him with bright eyes, calling out in a choked voice, Yun Xiang. He sighed softly, reaching out pitifully and asking, now, he wants to go home with you, will you do me the honor? These words made her burst out laughing with delight. Pfft. The corners of Wen Rumian's lips curved up happily, her eyes sparkling with gentleness as she stared intently at Yun Xiang. Then, she frankly grabbed his hand and pulled him away, let us go home. It was late at night, and the crescent moon hung suspended behind layers of pale clouds. When Rumian lay prone on the bed, clutching the sheets tightly, her eyes closed tightly, trembling. Yun Xiang lay on top of her, the whole room filled with a passionate and beautiful atmosphere. After a long time, he hugged her tightly, his eyes lowered as he suddenly remembered something. Oh yeah, honey, I forgot to tell you, there is news about Lu Zhe. When Rumian's eyes widened when she heard this, and she scolded, what, why did not you tell me sooner? Yun Xiang even replied with honesty and a chuckle, weren't we having an important activity just now? I did not have time to talk about it. She immediately got angry and scolded, you idiot, you animal who thinks with his lower half, what if something goes wrong? At the same time, elsewhere, someone shouted, stop. Lu Zhe's expression was worried, and he asked himself in panic, how did the European side discover my tricks with the military cargo so quickly? Didn't I spread the news that Bi Chang robbed it? The mysterious group of people searched everywhere, cursing, damn it, where did he run off to? Go over there and take a look. Luze hid in a corner and took out his phone to look at the message sent. From Chen, the buyer in Meow Meow. He breathed a sigh of relief and smiled with confidence. Boss Chen really keeps his word. It was not in vain that I dragged his daughter into it. Time passed. One fresh morning, Luze walked casually down the street in disguise. Suddenly, two strange men grabbed him tightly, causing him to shout in panic, "Who are you? What do you want to do?" One of them, with a towel wrapped around his head, frowned and asked, "You are still asking who we are? Don't you want to sell toys?" Luze was puzzled when he heard this. And fired off a series of questions. "Sell toys? What toys, brother, are you mistaken?" As soon as he asked, he suddenly speculated, could it be that they are the buyers that Boss Chen mentioned? So Luze quickly nodded and corrected himself, "Oh, yes, I am the toy seller. Sorry, I did not react in time just now. May I ask who your boss is?" The man with the towel wrapped around his head crossed his arms and said with a sneer, "A Thai woman. Our madam likes your big toys." He was happy when he heard this and secretly exclaimed, "A Thai madam, her background is not small. I have made a fortune this time." Luze laughed with delight and praised, "Your madam is very knowledgeable. My batch of toys are all VIP goods from Europe. Let us go, I will take you to get the goods." He quickly led the way, pointed to a truck, and announced, "The goods are in this container. I have marked it. Wait a moment, brothers." Luze still opened the container door casually, calculating secretly with a happy expression, "Haha, after this deal is done, I will take some beauties to Italy for a vacation." However, as soon as the car door opened, when Rumian stood inside and pointed a gun directly at him, Luze opened his eyes wide in shock, unable to believe it. When Rumian said in a low, sinister voice, "Luze." When Rumian declared through gritted teeth, "It is time for you to pay the price." As soon as she said this, bang, a deafening gunshot rang out. Fresh blood splattered everywhere, a dazzling color of bright red. Luze clutched his bleeding arm and ran away in a hurry. "Hey, where are you going? Don't you need the goods for your madam anymore?" At this moment, another bullet hit the back of his knee. Luze fell to his knees in pain, groaning, "Ah," when Rumian stood behind him and laughed mockingly, "Luze, do not you understand yet?" She still pointed the gun at him, explaining sternly, "There is no one buying goods at all, and there is no Thai madam either." When Rumian glared angrily and declared through gritted teeth, "There is only my revenge," Luze slowly curled his lips into a smile when he heard this and sighed, "Is that so? Then that is a pity." He carefully reached into his pocket and took something out, saying in a sinister voice, "If you won't let me live in peace." Saying this, Luze forcefully pulled out a long knife and shouted with veins popping on his neck, "Then you go down to hell with me again." But before he could do anything, another powerful foot suddenly and ruthlessly kicked him in the stomach. Yin Xiang quickly appeared, hugging Wen Rumian tightly, while his foot kicked Luze away fiercely. He frowned, his eyes sharp and cold as he said, "It is enough for you to go to hell alone." Luze was kicked away, his eyes wide as he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. The kick caused him to lose his balance and fall straight into the sea, shouting miserably in panic, "Ah!" With a splash, Luze fell straight into the cold seabed. Yin Xiang and Wen Rumian only watched everything indifferently. She sighed softly, her eyes sparkling as she thought to herself, "Luze, from the day you killed me and took the insurance money, you are no longer my father. Today, the grievances between me and you are finally over." The sun gradually set, and night fell upon the magnificent Bi Chang. A short-haired blonde girl stood blankly in front of the window, the faint silver moonlight shining on her. When Rumian slowly entered the room, her voice soft and full of gratitude, "Nasa, thank you this time. If it were not for you, I would not have been able to find Luze so easily." The girl named Nasa shook her head slightly and said, "You do not need to be so polite with me." She pursed her lips and repeated with a smile, "You and I are friends who have shared joys and sorrows. This little thing is nothing." When Rumian also nodded in agreement, "Yes." When Rumian looked at Nasa again and sighed regretfully, "But speaking of which, why did you cut your hair so short when you used to cherish it so much?" Nasa stroked her hair and explained. "In those years in Thailand, the wind and rain were harsh. Long hair was too troublesome, so I simply cut it off." When Rumian nodded and smiled, yes, short hair is also very beautiful." Nasa winked and replied, "Thank you." She suddenly remembered something and announced sternly, "Oh right, I checked that batch of weapons and found that half of it is missing." When Rumian was shocked when she heard this, her face worried and incredulous, "How could that be? Didn't you always have people monitoring it?" Nasa shrugged indifferently and sighed with speculation, "It is possible that someone transported them away before we did." When Rumian rested her chin in her hand and thought, who could it be? But a second later, Nasa handed her a glass of wine and advised, "Stop thinking too much about it." She clinked glasses with Wen Rumian and declared excitedly, "For our reunion, we won't go home until we are drunk tonight." Wen Rumian also raised her glass in response, "Okay." At the same time, in another part of Bi Chang, a group of mysterious people rushed in. The man leading the way ordered, "Surround this place." A small employee asked quietly, "What are you going to do?" The female employees nearby also said to each other in a panic, "Quickly contact Mr. Nya and Wen Rumian." The long-haired man leading the way asked loudly, "Who is in charge here?" Ruashi slowly stepped forward and replied, "I am." "Who are you people?" The long-haired man requested coldly, "You have taken something from my boss." Hand it over. Ruo, she explained calmly and gently, we at Bi Chang welcome all kinds of guests, but we have never taken anything from our guests. Could it be that you have misunderstood something? He laughed coldly when he heard this, you do not admit it, right? As soon as he finished speaking, the long-haired man pointed a gun directly at her, his eyes gloomy as he affirmed, I am 100% sure that you took it. Now, either hand over the goods, or do not blame me for being impolite. Let me tell you, bullets have no eyes. I do not know where it will hit. Ruo, she raised her hands in panic, still repeating blankly, I really do not know what you are talking about. The long-haired man ordered loudly, search for me, the subordinates replied, yes. She hurriedly raised her voice to stop them, wait, you can't. But the long-haired man sneered and threatened, don't move. It would not be good to ruin your beautiful face. A moment later, the subordinates hurriedly carried 3 boxes and reported, boss, we found them. They dropped the boxes on the ground and announced, everything is in here. The boxes were opened to reveal the pile of guns inside. Ruo, she was stunned as if struck by lightning, murmuring, this is. She asked herself in panic, impossible, where did these things come from? After that, there was an order to arrest her, take her away, Ruo, she struggled in vain, let me go. After hearing the news, Yunxiang comforted Wen Rumian seriously, Mian, calm down. But she was still upset and yelled angrily, Sister Ruo, she was taken away by the European Honor Society, her life or death is unknown, how do you want me to calm down? Yunxiang quickly grabbed her shoulders and explained sternly, precisely because the other party is the Honor Society, the largest underground organization in Europe. We must clarify the reason before we have a chance to save Ruashi. When Rumian tiredly covered her face, asking herself with a choked and bitter voice, why won't they leave us alone even after Lu Zhe is dead, but Yunxiang shook his head in denial. I think this matter may not have been done by him. Yunxiang rubbed his chin, calculating carefully with deep eyes, before he died, he still thought his goods were in the Cambodian port. It is impossible that he could still ask others to take action, after he died. When Rumian asked blankly when she heard this, then who is it, but he shook his head slightly and replied softly, it is still not clear now. The kidnappers will probably call later. These words were indeed true. A moment later, the phone in her pocket rang incessantly. When Rumian hurriedly picked it up and called out in a high voice, Ruashi. As soon as the screen connected, seeing Ruashi tied up on the other side, she cried out in pain, no. The long-haired man tilted his head slightly and greeted, Boss Nya, long time no see. Yunxiang tightened his grip on the phone and yelled through gritted teeth, Victor. The man named Victor chuckled with interest in response, I did not expect Boss Nya to still remember me. I am so happy. Yunxiang took a deep breath, gnashed his teeth, and asked coldly, what do you want? We can talk nicely. Don't harm the hostage. Victor laughed softly when he heard this and nodded in praise, Boss Nya is really straightforward. Then I will be blunt. He raised his eyebrows and said sternly, I want Bi Chang. Yunxiang narrowed his eyes gloomy as he affirmed, Bi Chang does business honestly. It is useless for you to have it. But Victor still did not care, whether it is useful or not is not up to you to decide. After saying these words, he grabbed Ruashi's hair and pressed a sharp knife against her face, threatening in a sinister voice, I will give you some time to think about it. For every extra day, I will take something away from her body. When Rumian covered her mouth in panic and cried out, please do not, Yunxiang hurriedly raised his hand to reassure her, nodded in agreement, okay, I will consider it. But if she is harmed in any way during this time, I will definitely not do what you want. Victor curled his lips into a happy smile and agreed, deal. I will give you 3 days. After saying this, the call ended. When Rumian frowned while holding the phone and asked in confusion, who is that person, how do you know him, Yunxiang shook his head slightly, rubbing his chin and thinking about something else. Let us talk about this later. Now, we need to think of a way to both save Ruashi and keep Bi Chang. When Rumian squinted her eyes in confusion again, why does he want Bi Chang? He sighed softly, explaining in a low voice, because they want to enter the Asian market, and Bi Chang is the best transaction network.